Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cape Charles Historic District Review Board meeting, special meeting. I have to read this introduction. This special meeting of the Historic District Review Board is being held electronically as provided under Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3708.2, subsection A.3, which permits public bodies to meet by electronic communications without a quorum physically assembled at one location. Since on March 12, 2020, Governor Northam declared a state of emergency for the Commonwealth of Virginia, arising from the novel COVID-19 pandemic. The purpose of this meeting is for, one, reviewing applications to obtain certificate of appropriateness as follows. A, replace siding, add windows, and renovate the front porch of 2 Monroe Avenue. B, to construct a new single-family home detached dwelling on Lot 92 on Washington Avenue. C, to construct an accessory structure at 301 Madison Avenue. D, and after-the-fact approval for a re-roof at 4 Randolph Avenue. Item 2, reviewing pre-applications as follows. A, remodel and re-roof at 542 Jefferson Avenue. B, construct a rear screened-in deck at 516 Madison Avenue. C, to reposition rear doors, windows, and construct a rear deck and restore the siding on 549, 551 Monroe Avenue. D, to replace the roof and windows at 601, 603 Peach Street. E, to install a fence at 633 Randolph Ave. Item 3, annual election of officers and view the state annual report. An audio recording is made of this meeting. This meeting is being held live, streamed on Facebook. Public comments will be accepted this evening via Facebook Live and emails to planner@capecharles.org. Comments were also solicited to be emailed to clerk, planner, and planning commission prior to the meeting. All votes taken this evening will be by roll call vote and recorded in the minutes. Any board members who leave the meeting or arrive after start of meeting must verbally note their attendance. Only essential business of the town of Cape Charles can be done in this manner. These procedures will remain in effect until COVID-19 crisis has been alleviated. Do any of the board members have any questions about the process? I guess not.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to call to order the roll call.
Herb Tom.
Kathy
Present.
Glasser. Sorry. Kathy Glasser.
Is that everyone? I didn't get the proper communication there.
Marty Mayer here.
Okay, I guess we established a quorum. Public comment on agenda items only.
I did not receive any.
Okay, approval of the agenda format.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda format.
Are we going to amend it with that one item that Katie wanted, the 7C upcoming meeting schedule?
Yes, if we may, to the board, I am looking to add a 7C to discuss the upcoming meeting schedule and calendar.
Okay. So do we want to add that to the consent agenda?
Yes, so amended, Ed.
Okay. Unfinished business.
Didn't get a second.
Okay, yeah, give me a second on the agenda approval, please. Anybody second it?
Yeah, I'll second it.
I'm not sure if we have to do a roll vote on the consent agenda approval or not. Tracy?
I think you do on all motions.
Yes, you do.
Okay, can we take a roll call vote on the approval of the agenda format?
Herb Tom, aye.
Strube, aye.
Kathy
Mayor,
Glasser.
Did Martin, aye?
Yes.
Also? Okay. The consent agenda approval format has been approved. Let's move on to unfinished business. Item A, application for certificate of appropriateness to replace siding, add windows, and renovate the front porch on a single-family dwelling at 2 Monroe Avenue. Tax map number 883A3-2-6-7C. Is the applicant on?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you tell us a little bit of the history and what you want to do on this project?
Yeah, so there should be a list of improvements to the exterior of the house. We wanted to replace the existing vinyl with 7-inch hardy plank.
Yeah.
Do you want me to just read through all of them or one at a time?
Yeah, I don't remember what we actually went over on the pre-app, but I'm assuming this is what you came back with.
Right. Add additional 3 windows of similar quality of existing windows. And I had sent, I don't know if you all have the pictures there, but picture 1 is an example of the existing window.
Yes, I have it. Yes.
Picture 2 shows where we wanted, this is the front of the house to the left, where we wanted to add a similar size window. And the circle there shows the existing window inside the porch. The third 2.5 there shows, again, what that window looks like, the existing window. Picture 3 is on the side of the house facing the alley. So it's on if you're facing the house to the right, we wanted to add 1 window. I'm sorry, that's wrong. That's the bedroom window on the left side of the house. That's picture 3. And then picture 4, that's on the alley side. We wanted to add a double window on that side to get, all of these are to use similar windows, but to get more light into the house. If you look at, I'm just trying to see, follow the, and then 5, we discussed last time, was to replace that 3 window system there with a slider door, and the door that is existing will go away. And I had made an amendment to that to do a slider on the far right, but we're not going to do that one. We're hoping that we can just get the slider approved tonight. And then there's a dish. I don't know to what extent we need to get approval, but there's a dish up there that we're not going to have a dish. So we wanted to get approval to remove that dish, and we would like to remove the chimney.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments, recommendations?
I'm
Just-
not done.
I had a question. Was there a pre-application meeting for this?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So in picture number 6, we wanted to, there's a triangle there at the top of the screen porch. We wanted to add windows up in the top of that just aesthetically. They have no function. It's just a look that we were going after. And we wanted to add, to kind of give that screen porch symmetry and to widen the steps there, to add another screen door beside the existing one and widen the steps there. Picture 7 is one of our current home. That's kind of that shows you the steps of what, this is our current home in Charlottesville. That we wanted to kind of duplicate the look of the steps and the railings without the Christmas lights. Picture 8 is an existing house in Cape Charles on Monroe that we wanted to dress up the front of the screen porch. So we wanted to do something very similar to that to dress that up. 9 is a picture on our house also in Charlottesville, is the weather vane that we wanted to add to the top of the screen porch. And then lastly, we had a survey done and we wanted to expand the boundaries of the fence to our property line. Currently, it's not on the property line. And the survey at the back also shows the existing fence and then where we wanted to expand it to. That's it.
So it looks like we met, I believe it was January 19th, and
Right.
discussed this originally.
Well, did we discuss all these points back then in January? 'Cause it just seems like there's some new stuff.
It does seem a little more extensive than what I have in my notes, and that was kind of what I was going to lead
Okay.
into. I didn't recall the chimney being removed. There were a couple other things. I was hoping you could just elaborate on changes in response to the prior meeting and changes in addition to the prior application.
To
Thank
me,
you.
I think the only one that I thought was an addition was the fence, because we had just received a survey. We didn't know what our boundaries of our yard were. So we added that one in. Everything else, I believe, was discussed in the previous meeting. The chimney was not discussed.
No,
So those are the only two, the chimney and the fence.
Yeah, the chimney. Huh?
The chimney serves no purpose at this point. I think it was there for furnace that was there a long time ago, and now that furnace is not there. So we were hoping that we could remove that because we were hoping to take down an interior wall, and we can't with that chimney there.
Does the zoning or planning administrator have anything to say on this application?
Zoning was fine with this application.
The fence is okay with the
Yes.
property? Okay, thank you. Anyone else on the board have any questions for the applicant?
I have a question about the chimney, Ed. I didn't think we took down chimneys.
Yeah. We try not to. I have a question. It's when was this house built?
I think it was 57.
Okay. So it's what we call a non-contributing structure in the historic district?
Right. That's the only leverage he has to take down the chimney. It's a non-contributing structure.
And I took a look at it from the street, from what I could see. It seems to be
Yeah.
covered with a stucco finish.
Yeah.
Over probably brick.
It could be, or it could be plywood, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't get that close.
It's in the back of the roof. It's not in the
Yeah.
front, so, yeah.
Do you know whether it's brick or not, sir?
I do not. I know the exterior that I see is not brick. It's, I think, stuccoed over something.
Right, but is it brick within inside your house?
No, it is covered by drywall. So there's a room, there's the chimney, it's encased in a box, and it goes down through the crawl space. And there's currently, if this is the chimney, there's a wall here and a wall there. So it's like in the middle of a wall.
So it could be a double-line pipe,
Right.
which is probably what it is.
I think we need to sure what it is.
There was no, there was a floor furnace in the house previously.
Right. Right. Mike, what do you got to say?
I was gonna say, we can't say that it is. We think maybe it's not, but it seems like we should be able to say that with.
I didn't hear what he said.
Either did I.
I didn't
Okay,
either.
I'm sorry. I'll try again. I think we should establish the material that we think it's not brick, but we can't say that for sure.
I
That's
can,
gr-
my contractor's there right now if you want me to call him.
It would
That's
really,
Hold on one second.
From the prior meeting, I have this house being built in 1950. And the only issue that I think we had at the time, but that was before we brought up the chimney, would have been the sliding glass door,
Okay.
just from my prior notes.
And you all were in favor of the sliding glass door last time.
that was last time. That's just a joke.
If I could ask a question, and I will apologize right up front because I'm new, I'm still learning.
Not to introduce you, I'm sorry, Kathy. our newest member to the board, Historic Review Board, is Kathy Glazer.
Thank you.
Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you. Mike, I'm not sure, I'm not clear on what difference the material makes. If it's brick versus something else, does that affect the decision?
Well, this dwelling is, 70 years old, and in previous instances, people have requested removal of chimney, and a situation where it was really in the way inside, but it wasn't posing any kind of a hazard, so to speak, and that was denied. And I think there's another case on that's not finished yet, where the initial response to removing a chimney, it was a case where there were two chimneys up there. One had already been approved for removal some time ago, apparently, and the applicant wanted to remove the other one, and to my knowledge, that has not been approved either. So it is, the chimneys in the town of Cape Charles are one of a very significant historical feature. And over the various meetings about this, I've learned a few things from where I initially came into it. So I'm just kind of reflecting what in the past the board's views have been.
I understand that. I guess what I'm not clear about, does it make a difference if it's brick versus a different material as to how you decide?
Well, a brick would be more permanent and less apt to be an eyesore. I'm not an expert on that, but in terms of reflecting what the true chimneys in the town are, they are in fact brick. So that would be just something to consider.
I kind of don't feel that way. I think I think it is brick, and I think it's got a stucco finish on it right now. And frankly, it looks terrible. That's what I could see from the street.
Unfortunately, my contractor's not answering the phone, so I can't give you that answer.
The picture, let me see. Picture just, it looks like
It's picture number 5.
5. There we go. Yeah, you can't tell very much from the picture, but
As far as the
yeah, I see what you're saying, Ed, about the stuck. Yeah, okay. Up close, it's not very pretty. Okay.
the dish is no problem. That can be removed. I mean, that's not into our purview, really.
Okay.
I guess we'll have to decide as far as the chimney. I have a question about the windows.
Okay.
On the addition of the front window to the left of the screened-in porch.
Right.
The current window is going to stay, the one that's circled on page 2,
Yes.
and that the one that you're adding is going to be similar size,
Exact same size.
and the trim and sill, will that be
All the same.
okay? I'm not sure what you have on there now.
You can kind of see the picture 2.5 is a closer up picture of that.
Yeah,
He's calling now. Do you want to ask him?
that just looks like a brick mold to me.
Picture, if you look at picture 3, it looks like it's got a fairly good sill, windowsill.
Yeah, but the casing itself doesn't look too wide, but
Right. It looks like J channel.
yeah, the J channel's for the aluminum vinyl siding, but
Right.
the small casing around the windows. I'm just wondering if you would care to put a wider casing on all the windows, since the siding is going to be removed. We usually require at least a 3.5-inch casing.
You-
I think we lost him.
He's on mute.
Absolutely. Sorry.
Do you have storm windows? They look like storm windows.
Bo, will you ask Kenny for storm windows there? I believe there are not
Yeah,
storm windows. Those
they're
are double
not?
pane windows.
On picture 3, they look like storm windows.
They're not storm windows, Mike. We're on the phone with the contractor now and he's there. They're not storm windows.
They're not?
Also, what is the Muntin configuration going to be on the new windows?
You're not speaking my language now. I'm not sure what that is.
It's the grills or grids in the windows. I mean,
So there are none?
you have none. It's going to be 1/1.
Right.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Has your contractor responded on whether it's a brick chimney or not?
Does he know if it's the brick chimney or not? Does he know?
He said it's masonry. There may be some brick there, but
He said it's masonry, but there may be some brick there. He couldn't tell.
I would say to circle back to this is a non-contributing structure. And the question is for a few of the people who've been around longer than I have. I understand how we've treated chimneys on contributing structures. Has that differed by residents, or is that generally one direction or the other on the newer homes?
I believe it could, we have more leeway with a non-contributing structure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think in one case, there were two different definitions about whether it was or wasn't a contributing structure.
Yes, yes.
If you look at picture 2, I would not want to take that chimney down on my neighbor's house. I would keep
No.
that because that's a contributing structure and it's obviously being used.
Correct.
And when a home achieves 50 years, that's a separate milestone. I don't know if it has any bearing on how we treat them in the town, but so the Ramblers now have sort of moved into a new territory of type that are, I don't know, antiques. I'm not sure what the word is, but it's some kind of, Tom Bonadero was telling me this one time, that 50 years it means something at some level, but.
Yeah, but that 50 years was put into effect from 1990 something. So that would bring, you go back 50 years, it would be any house from the 40s up.
Yeah.
I believe. So
Right.
Now, if it goes back 50 years, it would be a non-contributing, right? Or
Okay.
Or wouldn't. Wait a minute.
But either way, it's still non-contributing, correct?
Correct. Ed, it's Herb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we ought to let him take the chimney down. I don't think it's contributing and I don't think it looks good. And I think with a new roof and everything, it would look a lot better without that structure.
Okay.
I mean, that's the way I feel about it.
We'll have a chance to vote on it.
Okay.
Does anybody have anything to say about the front gable windows that are being added?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to obviously change the appearance, but then now if we're going to say it's non-contributing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The front stairway, what type of material are we talking about? I don't know if we have that listed.
So it's the wood structure. We wanted to use the same materials that were currently there. I think it's wood on, so we wanted to keep it in the look of the house that's there. So it would be a wood steps, and the railings would, I assume, also be painted wood.
Okay.
I'm assuming, do you all like the material? Do you care if it's materials that looks like wood, but it's not necessarily vinyl, but it's that composite?
Well, we probably would prefer wood from the beginning, but if we're not opposed to a composite material also.
I have the composite currently.
But
in
you
my
should
house in Charlotte.
specify right now which way you're gonna go. You should let us know, so when we make a motion, and if it's passed, we have to know exactly what you're gonna do.
So I'll do whatever you all want me to do.
It's
I just
not
wanna
our
get it-
choice, it's up to
I
you.
want to get it done. So if wood is my best chance, I'll do wood.
Well, you had mentioned wood first, so let's go that route.
Okay.
Yeah, wood's good.
Wood's good. Is there any more discussion? Does anyone have anything else to contribute? The screen, the vinyl door in the back, the slider, are you gonna have some kind of deck or patio back there?
There is a patio there currently, and we would keep the patio there. So there would be a step to the patio.
And the cupola, how does anybody feel about the cupola?
I was just getting ready to ask him what the height of the cupola will be.
It was,
Or will it be proportionate to the size of your roof?
yes. And I would say it'd be no, that the one that's there is larger than I want to put in. It would
Yes.
probably be about a foot in height.
The what?
The contributing structure,
If what? In what? What are you talking about?
the docket team,
People have paid circulate air. This one's not going to circulate air.
who didn't allow
Right.
contributing
Give us a
structure.
contributing structure.
And this is just artificial for architectural looks.
Correct.
Okay.
Yard.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, I would say, again, in this case, since this is not a contributing structure, that probably is okay, but I know if it were a contributing structure, I mean, there's a case recently where we disallowed that because it was a contributing structure, but this is a non-contributing structure. Okay.
Does anyone have anything else to say? Any
Ready
more
for a vote?
discussion?
Ready for the vote?
Well, someone has to make a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the certificate of appropriateness for number 2 Monroe
As presented,
as presented with the changes that we talked about,
which are,
which are no grills in the window and
well,
wood
we
stairs.
didn't, I don't think we actually
Yeah, we did.
asked them to. I think he said it was gonna be
1
one
over
over
1.
one.
1/1, no grills.
Yeah,
But that's what was on the proposal.
Right.
Correct.
It's not really a change.
I think the change that you all mentioned was what goes around the window. It was a.
well, yeah, the casing, the new
3-inch,
casing, the wider
right.
casing,
A 3.5-inch casing on the windows.
yes.
Correct. And a
and
2-inch
wood for the
sill.
porch. Yeah,
Non-contributing structures.
And you all are okay with us changing the front of the screen and porch to look like the other one? In picture.
Eight.
8, thank you. I mean, it's not gonna look exactly like that, but we're just gonna thicken up we're gonna add the door and add the width of the steps, the wood steps, and maybe make a thicker trim where the posts are.
Which side of the framing will the screen be on?
Inside.
I didn't get that.
Inside,
Screen's on the inside, Ed.
Oh, okay. Does anyone have anything to say about that?
No.
Okay, so do we want to try a new motion with these added?
Changes.
Yeah, added changes.
think the only added change was
Jefferson.
the 3.5 inch seal to the window, correct?
2-inch sill and a 3-inch framing, 3.5-inch framing.
Wood stairs and balusters, painted wood.
Right.
That has to be said.
Stairs painted white. Okay, I'll try again, Ed.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the certificate of appropriateness for number 2 Monroe Avenue with the following changes. 1/1 windows, as said, wood stairs painted white, the railings painted white, 2-inch windowsills, 3.5-inch trim, screen on the inside of the porch.
Does anybody second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Tom, aye.
Strube, yes.
Here, yes.
Okay, we have the motion carries.
So, quick question, timing on this. Do I wait for something from the city, or do I just go ahead at this point and start taking those windows out and replacing the slider, things like that?
Sir, you will receive a letter from us. We want to make you aware that there is a 30-day appeal timeframe on the certificate of appropriateness from its approval tonight. So any work that you commence at this point is at your own discretion and initiative. We cannot issue a building permit until the 30-day appeals period has expired.
Okay. So that means nothing can be done for 30 days, and then I have to apply for a permit then?
For anything that requires a building permit, you can apply, but we cannot issue it for 30 days.
And does anything that I'm doing require a building permit?
Yeah, you're doing some structural work. You're opening holes with windows and doors. You're changing
Yes.
headers. You need a building permit.
Okay.
You need a permit to put the fence up.
Okay. All right.
Okay, good
Thank
luck.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Item B on the unfinished business, application for certificate of appropriateness to construct a new single-family dwelling at lot 92 Washington Avenue. Tax map number 83A1-1-92. Is the applicant available?
Yes, we're here. A few of us here. So I'm Jackie Heller. My husband, Tom Heller, is also here. And then our builder, Bill Dowdy. And we spoke with you all in January. Nothing has changed to our application since that time. So there was a minor question about clarification on a windowsill, and Bill has submitted a picture to clarify that. But the major issue that we talked about in January was our request to use vinyl siding. And Tracy emailed you some additional documents to help make our point. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if that's okay as I talk through that. Oh, nope, it's been disabled, so I can't share my screen.
Yes, I emailed it so that they have it.
Okay.
And I also gave a copy to the zoning administrator.
Thank you so much. So it really builds on the conversation you were just having about the fact that this is new construction and it's on a block that is non-contributing. There was nothing built on the 200 block of Washington in the historic district. So when we looked at the Historic Review Board guidelines, we highlighted quite a few things that were on page 57. So the first is that when the guidelines are talking about the ruling against using synthetic siding, it's specifically referring to wrapping it over original wood. And it gives several reasons why that's a bad idea. Of course it is. On page 57, number 3 says synthetic siding as referenced above is not permissible. as referenced above, meaning when it's wrapped over original wood. So that's what's not permissible, and that's really clear in the guidelines. Since we're new construction, that piece doesn't apply to us. Later on that page, it does say that on number 4, the use of synthetic siding such as hardy plank or similar on new buildings within the historic district is allowed. So synthetic siding is allowed. And then if you go to the glossary at the end of this document on page 70, it defines synthetic siding as any siding made of vinyl, aluminum, or other metallic material to resemble a variety of authentic wood siding types. So absolutely, there is a preference in the town to not use vinyl, and I totally get that, because what you see in the cheap 90s vinyl that's wrapped over wooden siding is kind of horrendous. We included at the end 2 samples from our vendor that we would like to use. And our proposed siding does meet the width requirements. And it also does say that, let me see, number 5 on page 57, siding that simulates wood may be used on new construction if the depth of the siding boards conforms to the typical depth of traditional siding. So siding that simulates wood. If you look at our document that we sent, our vinyl manufacturer has 2 different types of siding. One is a brushed finish, and I think that's what you commonly see on that siding from the 90s that does not look like it simulates wood. And the other one is a natural cedar wood grain. So if you were to approve our use, you could stipulate that we have to choose the natural cedar wood grain. We would be completely happy to do that because we want it to look as authentic as possible also. Really our reasoning for making this request is that we are doing a modular unit. And while hardy plank may work well on stick-built construction, it really doesn't have the give necessary for the modular unit. So you were very kind in our meeting in January to suggest, maybe we could put hardy plank on the front of the building, and because it's so cost prohibitive and it doesn't work well on the modular, do the rest of our house in vinyl. But really to get those to match, we have concerns about it. And if hardy plank doesn't work well, the piece of our house that would look the worst would be the front. And so we didn't want to do that either. So we would like to move forward and have you consider our request to use vinyl siding, mostly because it is non-contributing. And after, we've had 2 months to study the original document, we really don't see anywhere in there that vinyl siding on new construction is prohibited.
Can you tell me the thickness of the vinyl siding?
It is 0.42.
Yeah, that's the thinner, right?
Yes, they do offer a 0.46 if you prefer that.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. And we never finished our workshops because of the coronavirus, but we had gone over a 0.046, which gives you a better dimension. Even though it's minor, it still looks more like wood than the 0.42.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the points that I wanted to make was I did some research also on when you guys were doing your work sessions in October of 2019. Every member, well, Herb and Edward were members of the board at that point, and there was much conversation. I mean, it's on your website, and the discussion was that Herb, Tom, had researched many different grades of vinyl siding and presented samples to the board. After much discussion, the board decided to allow vinyl siding with a minimum thickness of 0.46 on new construction. So
that's correct.
If
that is correct.
If that's the case and that's the preference, then I'm sure my clients would not mind going to the certainty monogram, which is 0.46.
Right.
That was never put into the guidelines. That was a discussion to change the guidelines. Let's make that clear.
No,
discussion
the guidelines have not been changed, but
correct.
Two of the board members that are still there have discussed that.
That's me. I'm one of those people you mentioned.
That's right.
This is
right. You guys.
We never had a chance to change our guidelines, so we have to use what we have.
Right, and I think it's very clear. It's very clear that the guidelines do not say that vinyl is not allowed. It is not allowed on renovations of older homes.
I have to disagree with you.
Well, it doesn't say that. And if somebody would
Well,
show
on
me-
page 57, number 1, synthetic sidings such as vinyl, aluminum, and stucco-like material are not historic cladding materials and do not contribute to the historic and architectural character of the district. That's number 1 on page 57. You forgot to mention that one.
And as we just discussed with the
Yeah,
last,
but then number four says that you can use synthetic siding on new construction.
Well, someone got the definition wrong. That's all I can say. Number 3, synthetic siding as referenced above, citing number 1, hardy plank or similar is permitted with exceptions. Consideration should be given to retaining the original materials on the primary elevations. Okay.
new construction does not have primary materials. Ed, wouldn't you agree that a new construction is a non-contributing structure?
Yes,
So I think that nullifies number 1 as it applies to our house for new construction.
Why? So explain that to me.
Synthetic siding such as vinyl, aluminum, and stucco-like material are not historic cladding materials and do not contribute to the
Because we're in the historic district. That's why they're not historic, okay?
right? But
And you-
they don't contribute to the historic and architectural character of the district. So when you're trying to delineate which houses should be allowed to have it and which not, you absolutely need to make sure that.
I agree that you do, there's leeway there, but
Yeah.
don't say that it's not, it strictly says you can use vinyl. I mean, that's a misnomer. That's just not true.
Well,
There's houses just on your street, next to your lot. The 2 houses to the west both have hardy plank. The house on the corner of Strawberry and Washington does not have vinyl. So it's not all vinyl in that area.
no, but there is vinyl in that area. That's our only contention. There already is. We're doing another one. It's a new construction.
Of the 5 houses on that block, 3 of them have vinyl siding, and 3 of them are all new construction houses.
There's 2 that I just mentioned are new homes.
Yeah, but
218.
I built one right next to it that you were on the board and you approved it as vinyl siding.
You're right, and that was
Both
probably
you
a
and Herb
mistake.
Tom, both of you guys.
Can I just talk for a second? Excuse me. In preparation for this meeting, I went back and read every agenda and every set of minutes for the past 3 years. And I wrote down all of the points that applied to this. And yes, it is correct. In December 6th of 2019, new instructions were required. They were trying to present new guidelines to the town council. And each member took a different section. Herb took the vinyl side or the siding section. Herb and Ed Eichmann, 2 Eds, rewrote it, presented it to the Historic Review Board. There was a lot of discussion back and forth. In February of 1920, Ed Wells asked what the decision was on vinyl siding after Carrie presented the new guidelines. Oh, I'm sorry. First of all, they also said, Carrie stated they would vote on siding before presenting it to the town council. But then in February, when Carrie was asked about what the decision was made, he made the decision himself to go to the council and said siding was not allowed. No vote ever took place. So how did he come up with that decision without any vote one way or another? He also said, and this is a quote, during his presentation to the board, updates would not be allowing vinyl siding, but if there was a lot of kickback, another option was available. What does that mean? So my question is, there were new guidelines written, but they were never presented to the council in the way that they were supposed to be, and they were never voted on. So honestly, I think we can't make a decision without that being voted on and cleared.
So those are great points. Thank you for all the work you put into doing that so we make an informed decision. What I hear from that is if the guidelines have not been updated and we have precedent from 2019, you know, what Bill is talking about and you were talking about, and we have houses that were just approved with vinyl siding built in this past year and nothing has been updated, then I would propose that it seems like we should be able to use vinyl siding until such time that the guidelines change.
And I would also agree with that, considering the fact that pretty much everyone else in the group accepted the updates that Herb had written. Kerry just made his decision on his own as to what he presented to the council.
And Herb, I will tell you that the monogram siding, the 0.46, the thicker siding is a better siding. It locks better. It doesn't come off. It's not wavy. It is a no-brainer. And for you to say, okay, let's try to come up with something that is going to represent, not say wood siding, but represent the plank siding look a little bit better and have that as an offer, then I certainly agree with you on that. I certainly agree with you.
Well, you remember, you do remember the exact work that we were doing in that.
Oh yeah.
And we all sit down and Ed and I had done a lot of work on the research to prove that 046 makes a big difference in the shadow and the dimension of that little bit of the siding.
I would agree with
look
you.
More.
I would agree with you.
However,
we'll take the 046.
It was never changed. So therefore, it's up to the whole historic review board as to what they want to do. I'm just one person.
Well,
You know,
and I also have a question on the comment that Kerry made to the town council about if there's a lot of kickback on the vinyl siding, another option was available. What was that other option?
You're muted, Ed.
Yeah.
It was hardy plank, I'm sure.
No, they wanted to require hardy plank or wood and not vinyl. But it said if there's a large kickback on the no vinyl, another option was available. And I think that was your recommendation.
The 046.
yes.
It could- Mike, what do you say? Say something, Mike.
I think that arguments for using 0.46 thickness are very persuasive.
You know, I don't like Mr. Shackle. Can anybody hear me?
I do, Ed.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think we should be using Kerry Shackelford's words in this discussion. I mean, you know, he's not here present. Nothing was approved, so we can't use those statements.
That was his presentation to the town council, and it's written in the agenda and the minutes, which is a public
But
document.
that's not the guidelines. Those guidelines were never approved. They were only discussed. So we have to use what we have. We have to use what we have in our guidelines at present.
And wouldn't you say we'd also have to use the precedent that has been set by the board in making decisions based on those guidelines?
On our current guidelines, yeah.
Okay,
Your interpretation of how they're written is different than my interpretation.
I agree with that, but if the precedent has been that you have approved vinyl siding on new construction.
Precedent doesn't mean anything. Ask any lawyer, okay? We hear this month after month. The guy down the street has it, why can't I? The guy up the road has it, why can't I? That's not how you can have things done.
Well, until such
You know,
time as the
Listen,
guidelines are updated.
you said you did research for the last couple of years when you moved here. You knew that this was a historic district. What do you think the materials should be on your home in a historic district is my question. You
0.46
believe-
vinyl siding.
You believe that you should have vinyl siding on a historic home in a historic district. It's a national historic town. You want to have plastic houses? I mean, to me, it's just not the right material to use. You're diminishing the craftsmanship of the carpenters and the building professionals. It's ludicrous to me.
I
But
think
I'm
the
only one person.
distinction needs to be made between a historic house and new construction, new infill construction.
Right, and we never finalized those guidelines.
And those are the guidelines that Herb and Ed had.
Those guidelines were never approved. Those guidelines were never approved. They were never voted on. They were never presented to the town council.
No, but Ed presented totally different guidelines that were never approved.
We were working on a whole change of all infill and new construction. Yes, we were. And we were told to stop. It wasn't our decision to stop. So you can ask council about that or the town manager.
Well,
Excuse
I
me.
don't
Excuse me.
believe that new construction houses are making any contribution to the historic district. And you guys just sit here.
Well, that's your opinion and you're entitled to it. That's your opinion and you're
It's new
entitled to it.
construction.
I'm not
It's
denying
new
that.
construction. It's not
Trace.
contributing.
Mr. Chairman, if I may make a suggestion at this point, I think we have heard from the applicant and their representative on the matter. I think it would be useful if maybe a motion was proposed as it concerns the siding option for this house, so that at least we have an item of discussion for the board at large.
Okay, does anyone want to propose a motion?
I will. I propose that we accept, and I don't know about my Roberts rule, so I propose that we accept this application with the vinyl siding.
How about the aluminum fascia material?
That, you just approved that on the previous one. So yes, with
No,
the,
we never approved aluminum fascia.
with
we
the
did
vinyl
not.
siding and aluminum fascia on the application.
Well, okay.
Kathy, do we want to specify 0.46 thickness?
Yes, I think we should set the guidelines that Herb wrote, which is the 0.446
Those guidelines are non-existent.
recommendations.
So again, for clarity, just so Kathy, I'm helping you. So you're proposing a motion to accept the application with vinyl siding at 0.046 thickness. And you've also included the
Aluminum fascia.
aluminum fascia
Correct.
and the window package. I know we haven't discussed that. So if we want to just take up those two items first.
That I don't.
Because it sounds like those maybe are points of discussion. So let's take those two items up first, and we will come back and make a secondary motion relative to the window package. So with that said, Mr. Chairman, I think we're looking for a second to Kathy's motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have one aye.
Strube,
Martin?
yes.
Mike says aye. Martin, I think you're on mute.
No,
Herb,
Nay,
so we have a tie right now. My vote is no. The motion's been declined as stated. Do we want to discuss the window treatment? I'm not sure what you said, Katie.
Yes, because that was the other element of their application is the proposed window package. Does anyone have any questions regarding the windows being proposed?
I don't.
If,
I don't have
if
that.
not, would one of you be willing to make a motion to approve the window component of this application?
I don't even see a window package.
There's a picture that she provided.
Someone just had a question about, I think, a windowsill last time, so they want
Yeah,
to
it's a 2-inch sill, but I don't see the package, Katie.
And sorry if I'm referring to it as package, but it was the window proposed and there was a photo provided. So I just wanted to make sure we're closing the gap on the window issue as presented.
The one I'm looking at in the package is classic double hung window. Is that what
Yes.
we're talking about?
Yes.
They're 6/6s, but I don't see a 2-inch sill. But that was my objection to this window, that it didn't have a 2-inch sill. And I think the builder said in the discussion that I had that he could get one, that one was available for vinyl. You still there?
Yes, and I would turn to Bill. Is that possible as the contractor on this? Can we do it with a 2-inch sill?
The sill that's provided with the window package there is 1 3/4 inches. It's in.
Right. Yeah. Bill, that's what we agreed on the last time we talked about this.
Yeah, it's 1 3/4 inches already built into it's already built into the window. It's integrated.
Not in this window that's in the package.
Well, the photo that I provided, that Carrie requested, shows the 1 3/4 inch sill.
I agree with you, Bill, but it's not in the packet that I have. So
That's why he requested a photograph. So I sent it to Tracy. Tracy was supposed to provide it to you.
It's in the agenda.
Tracy and I are right here together.
Yeah, she should have a photograph of it.
Hold on, Bill. Perfect. Yeah, Bill, I like it.
Yep.
Yeah, can you see it?
You can see, yeah, you can see the shadow. I think that's
Right,
kind of
I
what you're
do.
looking for, right?
Yep, that's exactly. Thank you, Bill. That's
Yes,
just what I
sir.
was looking for.
So as
Bill,
far
the
as,
only-
go ahead, Herb.
Bill, the only reason that I am opposed to it is because of the aluminum.
Okay, well, something I'd like to point out to you guys is because you guys, you refer a lot to the guidelines. Cornice is on page 50. Cornice and fascia are the same thing. There's nowhere in your guidelines that references that you can't use aluminum fascia. I read your cornice section all on page 50 and it never says anything about you cannot use aluminum. Keep in mind that the fascia itself is wood, it's just wrapped in vinyl coated aluminum.
Why can't you put a piece of AZAC up there?
Because why would you use AZAC in a vinyl situation? It just doesn't make any sense.
Why so?
Because it doesn't.
I don't
It's
get why not. I mean, it's a composite material.
So am I understanding correctly, Herb, that you're saying you voted nay on the vinyl and fascia vote because of the aluminum fascia? So if we were to change that to AZAC?
That's correct. That is correct. Yeah, that's correct.
If that one thing changes the
Yeah.
vote, Bill, is it worth putting fascia on? Is that feasible? Is that, we haven't talked about that, so I'm willing to do that.
I will do whatever you guys want, but the guidelines are very specific on page 50. It doesn't say anything that you cannot use aluminum as the fascia.
It may not say aluminum fascia specifically, but it does reference in the guidelines not to use aluminum. Okay,
Bill?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you can do the AZAC, I'll change my vote to yay.
It's entirely up to you, Jackie.
does anyone want to make a motion, a new motion? Or is the applicant applicable to that?
We haven't heard what she said, Ed.
Make an amended motion, maybe.
Well,
But
the
she
applicant has to agree.
She has to agree, Mike.
Of course.
Tommy, you, You good, Tom?
You, pardon me?
We agree. We will use fascia with 0.46 vinyl siding as our current agreement.
And
No, it has
AZAC.
to be, it has to be
No, I think-
non-aluminum cap.
I think what they're asking for, Jackie, is they're asking for the fascia board to be AZAC instead of,
You could
vinyl
paint
coated
it, you
aluminum.
could have painted wood. We just don't want to have it capped with aluminum.
And we're just talking about, it's that one strip that separates the roof from the house, right?
Yeah, on the gable, it'll be the white portion trim boards.
yeah, wherever there's a fascia board, that will get substituted to AZAC.
Is the applicant amenable to that change?
I'm amenable to that change.
All right, would someone like to make a new motion?
Give it a run, Mike.
Yeah, well, I'll make the motion that basically Kathy's motion is amended though to use AZAC rather than aluminum for the fascia. And the rest of it remains the same.
The window package is okay as it's stated?
Yes, because it's got a 2-inch sill and it's 6/6.
Okay, so is there a second?
I second it.
Oh, hold on, I'm sorry. I don't believe we're using 6/6. Does that matter?
It's 3/1, Herb,
3/1. Okay,
3/1 SDL.
right. It's the same window that we have the picture of, right, Bill?
Actually, I think the picture you have is a 2/1.
It's a 2/1, right?
Yeah,
But
I see a 2/1. Is that gonna
Right.
be an,
It's gonna, look at the elevations of the house. It denotes 3/1 SDL.
Okay. So it's a 3/1 window with a 2-inch sill.
Yeah, it's actually 1.75 inches. I want to make sure that I put that in there because
Right.
Okay,
it's
1 3/4 sill. Okay,
Yes,
That's 2 inches. That's 1.75 inches, like 2 inches.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, again, just to make sure we've captured the motion correctly. So it's a motion that would approve the application with vinyl siding at 0.046 thickness. And the fascia would be non-aluminum, and the options can be AZAC wrapping or painted wood for the fascia, and the window package of 3/1 with a 1 3/4 inch thickness.
sill.
still? Yeah.
Sill, thank you. Sill.
Do we have a
That is the-
second?
I'll second.
Can I get a vote? Roll call?
Herb, Tom, I.
Kathy, aye.
Strube, aye.
Mayor, no?
Wells, no. The motion passes 3-2.
Well, I guess voting.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you so much for your time. I know you've got a packed agenda tonight. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll take in a second. I'm in outer space.
Okay,
It's this way.
item number C, application for certificate of appropriateness to construct an accessory structure at 301 Madison Avenue.
No,
Number 83A1-1-195. Is the applicant present?
yes.
Can you give us a rundown on this application, please?
Mhm.
Yes, this is for a one-story accessory structure. And we were at the February 3rd Historic Review Board to look at this, but there was a question on zoning, which we now resolved the zoning question. And so now we're back to the review board. So it is considered a one-story accessory structure, and I presented it in the drawings of the kinds of materials that we would use for this.
Katie, this is straightened out with the zoning component of this?
Yes, from a zoning perspective, the accessory structure is in compliance with our zoning ordinance, both for its height and meeting the requirements for an accessory structure as it relates to height and its location on the lot. I do want to stress there seems to have been some discussion in the past about what a story is. And I have gone through our ordinance at length to look at that and the requirements. There is a difference in the definition of a story between the zoning ordinance and what's in the building code. And my job for the zoning review is to administer and apply it relative to the zoning ordinance. So there is a question on the story as it relates to building code and whether there can be some potential residential use in that upper space in that accessory structure. That's an issue to be resolved with the building official. But we have a statement from the applicant indicating that he has no intention of using this for residential use. So we feel that that is no longer an issue of concern from the zoning perspective.
Well, Ed? Hello, Ed?
Yeah, Herb.
Yeah, I have I guess the zoning package that was written by Allison, and she definitely says it's a two-story structure as defined by code.
Well, I can't address to that.
Well, Allison called it a two-story structure by code. And it's in the document that was in the package that we have tonight. There's her letters attached.
And again, Herb, as I referenced going through the zoning ordinance, if you go under Article 4, which is the general regulations,
Right.
there's an exceptions provision that talks about the size and location of accessory structures.
Exactly. And I had this discussion and I've done some more research on it. And it's really a hair splitting problem.
I'm just going to give me one more moment.
Am I correct in saying, though, that this is similar to the discussion that we had a month and a half ago at this point? The question, the concern is with zoning, and we had a zoning ruling just now. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, I have issued a zoning ruling and believe we are in zoning compliance with this application with the information from the applicant.
With that said, I don't see any issues on my end beyond that.
I think what Herb's saying is that he has a disagreement with the previous zoning administrator with a difference of opinion about that particular code issue or ordinance issue. That seems to be in question right now. But I think we have to go with the current zoning and planning administrators, and we'll have to use her opinion going forward. Does anyone else have anything else about this particular?
Just one point about height to verify that no matter what the height is, it cannot be higher than the principal residence. So I assume that the accessory structure is not higher than the principal residence. Is that correct?
Yes, Mike.
Yeah, it's not higher.
That is
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
The disagreement I have, Michael, is the definition of two-story versus one-story.
I had a concern about that also. I called Jeb about that issue, and we never seem to have got it resolved. I have the state code book here as far as building code, and the way I interpret it is that this structure would be a two-story building, but that seems to be a moot point now because the zoning administrator has ruled that it's not a two-story, and it's cleared through her. So I think
She did. Ed,
Again,
excuse me.
just to make it clear, my job is to administer the zoning ordinance. And so again, your zoning ordinance under section 4.2 E10, it states where the main structure possesses more than 1 story above grade, which this one does, no accessory structure shall be higher than 2/3 the height of the main structure or 24 feet, whichever is less. And he is proposing a structure that is less than 24 feet. So he is in compliance with the zoning ordinance. Again, the zoning ordinance doesn't define by a dimensional regulation what the height of a story is. That is actually a building code administration, and that does fall under the building official to administer the building code.
I have a question. Since this is being considered as a accessory structure, isn't the zoning setbacks different than if it was a shed 1 story?
An
Yes,
accessory
Ed.
structure.
On an accessory structure, aren't the zoning setbacks different than if it was just a 1 story shed structure?
We actually don't define between a shed or anything. We call it an accessory structure under the zoning ordinance.
So I was under the impression that this setback was different if this was considered 2 story.
It is, Ed. It's 5 feet if it's considered 2 stories, and he only has 2 feet. It's right in the packet.
Katie, can you address that in any way?
I'm flipping over to the district regulations. So 1 second, please. Let me get to R1.
Ed, can I ask what it is in the building code that you think makes this 2 story?
Just by definition in the code book.
And
The
what
way
is that definition?
I got the code, Ed. It says story above grade plane, more than 6 feet in height is considered a story. And the gentleman has 6 foot 6 inches by the drawing on that packet.
I thought I read somewhere that it had to be 7 or 7.5 feet.
Wow. Jeb sent,
Here's the code book for the state of Virginia.
But again, that's the building code.
This is
which
the building code. Now,
Which again is not relevant to zoning clearance.
okay, well, how about the setbacks? Is there
Yes, again, under section, I looked under both the district regulation and then I moved over to Article 4, which is your exceptions to the regulation, section 4.2. Accessory building shall not be closer than 2 feet to any side or rear lot line.
Okay,
Over Kathy.
Ed, that's a 1 story accessory building, not a 2 story accessory building.
Katie?
is that true, Katie?
A 2-story building shall not be located any closer than 5 feet to any lot line is one of the stipulations. So again, there is a difference because I have a regulation E3, which specifically calls out accessory building shall not be closer than 2 feet.
But isn't it true? Isn't it true that it has to be defined, either it's a 1 story or 2 story to make the difference from 2 feet to 5 feet?
Again, this ordinance is inconsistent in defining what is 1 story versus what is 2 stories in this ordinance.
Wow. So how do you define 1 story to 2 stories? It's not in the ordinance?
At this point, I have to go with the stated language, which says the accessory building, which is what the applicant is requesting, is an accessory building. And what the setbacks are stated in the ordinance for an accessory building, which is not closer than 2 feet to any side or rear lot line.
Yeah, but if it's a 2-story building, it has to be 5 feet. And we haven't determined if it's a 1 story or 2 story. The applicant says it's 1 story. We're having a problem to have somebody definitively tell us it's a 1 story or 2 story.
Well,
Although
as
that's
your-
out of our purview, so we should just continue.
As your zoning administrator, that is the ruling I have done. And again, anyone is welcome to appeal the decision I've issued.
Okay. I think we have to continue within our purview as the Historic Review Board. The rest is have to be up to the zoning administrator or in the building department. So is there any questions as far as the structure as it's shown on the application? Discussion, questions?
Can't vote.
Anybody? My question is, why are you putting 4 windows on and up on the top? I mean, I
So
just-
the reason we're putting windows is 2 reasons. One, for the look, to make the structure look nice. The second, which Katie and I had a lengthy conversation about, was that area is a attic and we're using it for storage. And when we go and store things in that attic, we wanted to have light, natural light in there. But primarily we think that the structure just looks very appealing that way versus no windows.
Well, I lost you for a minute.
Oh, we think, I'm not sure what you didn't hear, but I said that we think that the way it architecturally looks when we had it designed, that it looks a lot better with windows. And also that area is where we're going to have storage, which Katie and I discussed at length, and that those windows bring in light in that attic area.
Bless you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
And the siding material and the windows, I don't have your packet here in front of me. I can't find the.
Well, what we had done, we had been in a pre-application meeting back in October. It was recommended that we use hardy plank that was horizontal, put on horizontal. So that is in our specifications. And I believe, I know all the material list was submitted, all the materials that we're using, and then a list of specifications. So but we did say that we'll go and we'll put hardy plank on this structure, because we knew that's what the Historic Review Board was suggesting that we do.
Just as a note, if you had to move that 5 feet off the property line, would you be opposed to that?
Yeah, the problem would be for us is the area is so small that if we move it, then we're going to now have an issue because we'd be closer than 15 feet from the home.
I see.
So we have to keep it 15 feet from the home, 2 feet from the lot line. That makes it 14 feet wide is the maximum, which is already, we can't make it any skinnier because then it'll start looking strange, very strange. We purposely did not put a second floor on here because of that. It's just a pure attic. It's because the way the building is going to be.
Well,
made,
let's not go there because there's definitely a difference of opinion on that matter.
Okay. And that's
that's not going to be our purview here because.
Okay. So to answer your question, can we move it? That seems like a zoning thing too. That's the reason we couldn't.
Okay, I was just curious. It doesn't pertain to approval.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It's okay. I'll just count one different, Frank, in the sample example photos that you show, the roof line comes right down above the first story. And so
but your roof is gonna be much higher. There'll be a, what looks like kind of a floor above the first floor on the side as well as the ends, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That makes it confusing.
This is the last one.
Hmm?
This is the next application.
Will the trim be wide trim around the casing on the windows?
Yes, it will.
Okay,
I don't know how to turn
at
it on.
minimum 3.5 inch.
Yes.
It's the same way.
Any questions from the board members? Comments? Recommendations?
No.
Would anybody like to make a motion? Everyone's silent. I guess I can make a motion. I'll make a motion that we approve the application as submitted. With the window casings being 3.5 inch, because I don't know where it is on the literature here. What is the front, what is the door gonna be material wise and style?
Let me just see.
Can't hear him now.
Excuse me, Ed.
Yes,
It was all included in the packet and he has it laid out, the garage door and also the exterior door. The garage door is white insulated 8x7. And the exterior door is a 6-panel house door.
okay,
And he has listed on here for material steel.
okay. I just picked it up now, I see it. All right, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the application as submitted. We can't get into the controversy of the 2-story on our watch. That's gonna have to go to the building department. They're gonna have to straighten it out. So can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Can I get a roll call vote?
Drew, yes.
No.
Aye.
No. Herb said no.
Herb, no. Mike?
Yes.
Mike, yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. And it's been approved as submitted. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
What's the next one?
Hmm?
What's the next
These are pre-apps.
one?
Okay, new business. Item A, pre-application for certificate of appropriateness to remodel and re-roof a 2-story single-family detached dwelling at 542 Jefferson Avenue. Tax map 83A1-1-141. Is the applicant present?
Yes,
Can you tell us a little bit about what you want to accomplish here?
putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. The house is in dire straits when we purchased it. We've already had a prior permission of demoed the interior in preparation. This is the last phase of redoing the property here, but the foundation needs work. We're planning on replacing the siding with hardy. The chimney had a fire and is structurally unsound. It's cracked and falling. So that needs to be addressed. And our way to address that, of course, is to take down the existing chimney and rebuild it in a location that's suitable for us. in the design, and the rest of it is pretty straightforward. It was at some point chopped into 2 units, upper and lower, and we want to restore it to its original single family dwelling.
Any question from the board members?
So far, so good.
Looks like quite the undertaking.
Yes, considering we have to support the structure and redo a lot of the foundation underneath.
Well, if you've been
of
by and looked at it, it's just,
it. We bought the problem child of the town.
Oh, I hope you bring it back to life.
Yeah.
And we've seen that done before, and I'm really amazed at what can be done with people that know what they're doing.
Yeah, well, we have a good GC. Dan Pruitt is very good, and he's worked extremely well with us so far, and I'm very happy with the outcome of our guest house. And now it's time to do the accessory structure. Yes, sorry, for family and friends only. And now we want to get the main house done.
Yeah, I could just add that Dan Pruitt's a very good contractor, very good.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions as presented? I mean, it's quite the extensive renovation here.
Well, technically, we're not rebuilding.
Yeah. So, but I just say again, I recently saw a picture from something about Cape Charles that referred to it somehow. So I don't think it was sure as a it was about to be demolished or something, and it was actually one that I know was restored.
Okay.
Yeah, my house was held up by 2x4s, had the windows boarded over and had bats flying in and out.
yeah, we gotcha.
Yeah.
I just have
Well,
a
there's no
quick
mosquitoes
question
in the
for my
neighborhood,
own
though.
information. In this case, since the chimney is structurally unsound, that's
Yes, there was a fire in it, and it actually got to the structure. I had to do some emergency repairs so that it wouldn't collapse when we first bought it.
There's a crack that runs from the bottom of the chimney all the way up.
And it offset and it's leaning now
Yes.
too. It's actually, I don't want people in the house because if someone were to push on it,
It's pretty dicey.
Yeah.
But you are going to rebuild the chimney.
Yes, we are, but not in the same
a different
spot.
spot.
We're going to put it, if you look at the drawing, it's going to move to the side instead of look at do you see the architectural rendering?
Yes. Yeah. Are you going to use the
Moving-
same bricks? Are you gonna
Dan
save
does
the
not know
brick?
if he can, he's going to try to save as many of them as he can, but he's
Okay.
not sure because a lot of them are cracked
Right.
and they were damaged in the fire. Yeah, unfortunately.
Right.
We've
Well,
been
it'd be nice if
scavenging. We
you
have
could
a
use it
pile of
from-
some historical bricks.
It'd be nice if you could save enough brick from the roof line up,
Right.
you know.
That's
Oh, I think that's definitely possible.
we talked about that, and that is
Okay.
that is doable, we think.
From the roof line up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It seems you have most of the components listed that we look for, you know, on your list here of materials.
Well,
Hardy
we wanted
plank.
to put in, yes.
The hardy, the AZAC trim, the windows. I hope the casings, you're gonna have the white casings in the sill.
Yes, so that's why I put a picture of what we did for the
Accessory
accessory structure. Yeah,
Right.
We're planning to trim it in much the same manner with the same material. That's AZAC and Hardy.
Those are picture frame windows, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I believe that's a 2-inch sill.
Yes.
I'd have to go out and measure it to be
Yeah,
sure, which I
it-
can do.
I think it's a 2-inch. So definitely by the time you put the AZAC trim on the bottom of it,
Mhm.
it extends it out.
I can't tell from this picture of your accessory apartment if there's a 2-inch sill there or not. But
Would you like me to go measure it? And I'm serious, like I can run right out there.
well, this is a pre-application meeting, so it's not, unless we really felt that we could get this get through all of this and approve it, but there's so much here. I'd like to take a little bit more time to go through it. The roof line staying the same?
No.
Okay.
The back part, the part that faces the front of the house, the street, yes, on the back, it's rising just a little bit, if you notice in the rendering.
You're gonna have railings on the porches?
No,
Not unless code makes us do it, but I think it's just under the,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be just, well,
It looks close on the,
yeah, that's gonna be how Jeb measures it.
Your insurance company.
yeah.
Yeah,
that's the other
that's-
big consideration.
Yeah, State Farm, yeah.
No, it's not.
Do you happen to know the pitch on the back roof? Is that gonna be metal or architectural shingle?
Architectural, it's
Architectural
the
shingle.
GAF timberline. And we're keeping the pitch the same.
I think it's on here. Let me look on
Yeah,
here.
I think, hold on, yeah. Go to the,
No,
go
that's
to
not us. I'm looking.
the actual,
Here we are.
what is the pitch on the? Looks like a 12-12,
Is that right?
I think. Hold on, we had it here. Yes, what it says on the architectural, it looks like it's a 12 pitch, and it says match exterior. Because we were trying to keep the
silhouette the same.
the same, yeah. Yeah, and they've done the overhang the same distance, the eave detail to match the existing. It even says it on the drawings. And the porch is going to be a 12-4 to match the existing slope of it.
So these are straight vinyl windows? It just says,
Yes.
it just says vinyl windows. It's a solid vinyl through and through?
I believe so.
It's on here.
Are the windows further down?
I don't know.
I think the windows are further down.
Right.
Yeah. So these really are like replacement windows, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what we used on the accessory structure.
Yeah.
There was no way you could save the old existing windows?
Well, they're not even original. Some of them have plastic that are
Okay.
from the 70s. And they're not, if you look at the framing on the inside that you can see now, they're not even the original size windows. They
Really?
put a, like on the front, large rectangular, like a picture window that you can tell is not even original. It's plastic.
So
So what opening are you going to use to put the new ones in? Is it going to be the larger opening or the smaller opening?
Let's go to, where's the,
Well, okay, so on the first floor, where you see the door and you see to the left of it, there's that large, awkward looking.
which is not an original.
Yeah, that's not original. So that would be gone completely, and there would be two windows equally spaced through there. So it would have the appearance of three equally spaced elements on the front of the house. So the two on the first floor would be a little bit longer, and then there will be three windows on the second floor, and they will be a little bit shorter than the windows that are on the first floor by the front door.
Let me see the front of the
Okay.
drawing, the front view.
Yeah, I don't have some of this as you're describing to me. I don't see this on my paperwork.
Okay, on your blueprints, it would be, I don't think the page designation, I don't think it made it, did it? Yeah. Is it that at the bottom? It says sheet 3 of 8.
Yeah, I have 3 of 8, Ed.
I have the elevations. I have the front elevation and the
Okay,
right
so the
elevation.
front
The front
Does that help,
elevation.
Ed?
elevation.
Yeah,
So it
Yeah.
looks like,
Yeah, that's the elevation, yeah.
yeah.
And,
Okay.
and it also shows the front windows.
Okay. Yeah. I was just trying to compare it to the existing. That's what I was looking for.
Right.
And the stairs, what material are you going to use on those?
I think we're gonna keep,
so what's on there
The
right
existing
now
stairs.
is actually concrete.
they're concrete,
They're a set of, poured concrete steps.
Okay, you're going to keep those?
yeah.
Well, they're pretty solid, I have to
Yeah.
say. They're the most solid thing about the house.
Yeah.
We
Getting
can
them
keep
out would be a
those.
nightmare. Yeah.
That's a good thing, I guess.
Well, I
All right.
believe Godwin, who owned the house, actually put those steps in. Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Well, he
Yeah,
knows it's
thank God.
concrete.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Does anybody else have any questions, observations, recommendations?
Did you say something about on the front elevation that the window size next to the door was going to change?
Well, if you look at the front elevation,
Yes.
that's what's on the first floor now is actually not two windows, but one awkward looking window that looks like it came right out of the 70s.
That's right. I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's plastic. It's not even glass.
Right.
Okay, but
Eh.
the architectural rendering of the front elevation is going to be the same. 2 windows and a door on the first floor?
Yes.
3
Yes.
windows on the second?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay,
And
cool.
that's more back to, if you look at the framing, that's a lot closer to
Yeah.
the original.
Right.
What material are you using on the fascias? AZAC material?
AZAC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone have anything to say? Discussion?
The window's going to be the same with the picture frame look?
Yes.
Yes. You mean 1/1? Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking about?
no, I'm talking about
No.
the way it's, the framing of it,
The trim
Like-
boards?
the trim
Jason.
boards, they're really awfully large.
Well, we put the larger size. Are you talking about on the
Accessory structure.
on the accessory structure?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, we put the larger size on that because we thought
We
it looked
liked it.
better. We liked it. There are narrower widths that you can do. I think
Yes.
that's the,
That's Yeah, I think they're good for your accessory structure, but I think it will overpower
Okay.
the.
Right, with that many windows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. I
yeah,
mean,
it has
it
to
should.
be like 3.5 or 4 inches, not,
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
3.5 would be more appropriate than
Yeah.
I don't know, it looks like it's 6 inches.
It is, it's
It
pretty
is.
big, yes. Okay,
It'd be a
so
one by,
it's 3.5
it's a 1 by
to
6.
Yeah, right. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's just
Okay.
my opinion. I think it would really overpower the structure. Especially on the second floor.
Yeah.
The front elevation of the second floor, all you would see was window frame.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, we're
So-
agreeable to that.
yeah.
On the foundation also, is that going to be all brick?
The foundation is probably going to be block and porched.
Well, I think, so we're open to some discussion on that because the foundation right now on the front, I don't know what you call that. On the front, it's the
It's
concrete, the concrete blocks that have the,
scalloped, and they'll stay.
Okay.
so we've got that on the front. We've got brick on the sides. There were some original brick pilings and then it was filled in. And then on the back, there was some concrete
No,
block.
the sides are mixed. They are block and brick. The
Right.
pilot.
There's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Hodgepodge.
Yes.
Yes.
So how do you propose to make that a uniform?
Well, if we keep the existing scalloped on the front or onto the porch, then if we do block and porch it, I think it would.
On the rest of the house.
It would look more homogeneous and because I think originally looking at it, it was an open foundation.
Right.
It was set on piers and it was open and somebody filled it in. The brick wasn't even originally
Right.
there.
Right. Do you know when it dates back to?
1910.
We think.
Wow. Yeah.
Or the first portion of it, it was actually.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Any discussion, board members? Observations?
Well, I like it if they change the to a 3.5 inch window trim.
Yeah.
And a 2-inch sill.
Yeah, I think that would be more appropriate.
I do too. I think it would look really
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's my only addition, Ed.
I'd like to get a clarification exactly on the foundation, being that it's a it's mix and match right now.
Yeah. Well, basically, my understanding from talking to Dan is we're
Do it all on the 3 sides.
I'm sorry,
okay. We didn't get you.
Yeah, my internet's unstable or something. If we can just get a complete uniform foundation picture. I mean, it seems like you have piers in the rear, something different in the front, and I'm not sure what's on the sides.
Well,
If you can just tell us what you're proposing.
So we're
porch block for the foundation down both the sides and the rear.
But-
The front basically being what's visible is the support for the porch, which we plan on leaving the same.
So that it's open in the front now? I'm sorry.
No, it
I
has,
don't remember what-
if you look at the photograph of the front, it's a block, it's a scalped block, a decorative block, but it's block. And we're not proposing to change that. Yeah, there's a term for it. It's escaping me right now, but if you look at the picture of the front, it's block and we're not planning on changing.
So you can't really see it, but it's not flat block. It's got a scallop on it or
A rough finish.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
a
really know.
decorative
It's
block.
truncated.
Yeah,
Truncated,
decorative
yes.
block. That's yeah, and it's not supporting the structure of the house. The actual foundation is back under there, And there's no reason to disturb that. I don't know what you would call it, foundation or whatnot under the porch, and leave the view the same. Probably just clean it up, maybe etch it with acid and clean it up, and touch up the
Border.
yeah.
Okay, does anyone have any further discussion?
Are you gonna leave the columns on the porch?
We're going actually very similar, probably slightly thicker,
Okay,
but yeah,
Same style.
same style.
right, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
What material?
It'll have a
What material for the,
steel core center, but a PVC exterior, white, that's paintable, that looks like wood.
so you'll paint them?
Yeah, and they'll be
Yes.
white.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say? Members of the board? Would anybody like to care to make a motion, or should we just ask them to come back for a application for certificate of appropriateness, or you want to do something here now?
I think it's too complex to do that now, Ed, but I think we should ask them to come back for the next
I
meeting,
agree.
okay?
So when we come back, what is it that you need from us?
Definitely clarification on the foundation. I know you told us, but I'd like to maybe,
Basically,
put a
all these
quad
things
on
we've
it.
discussed in writing.
You wanted it in writing. And
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
No
In addition, I think other items they referenced is clarification on the entire foundation, what you intend for the material and look to be on all sides. The porch column, both its size and material and painting intent. Size of the window trim and window sills,
Right.
as was
Okay.
discussed this evening.
Okay, so, yeah, okay.
And I think some clarity on the roof pitch,
Okay.
just because we don't see that in our documents as to what that roof pitch is.
well, it's actually on the blueprints.
It's 12 by 12.
Okay, I couldn't see because the numbers are so small and my eyes are dying here.
Yeah, it's 12. If you
Yeah.
would-
It is on
if you
there.
could-
Okay,
Yeah, just include that though in your letter,
Okay.
Yeah.
that it's a 12-12 pitch.
Is there interest in a motion conditional? You know, we need 2 pages of clarification here. Is that worth delaying a month? Can we do that?
Yeah, that would be nice.
I think
Risky.
that's possible if the whole board would agree. And lastly, before I jump off and answer that question fully, the last item referenced was a willingness and request to reuse the brick from the roof line up on the
Yes.
chimney rebuilt as permissible in terms of the number of bricks you're able to reclaim and reuse to make that possible. I think that was your other comment
Yeah.
put into this.
Right. That just about covers it, Katie.
So back to your comment, Martin, I think we could make a motion that if all of these items were submitted from the applicant, you could provide authority to the zoning administrator to review compliance with that and move this forward for certificate of appropriateness if all of those conditions are adhered to and offered.
So do we have to make a motion as you just
Yes.
described?
Would you like some assistance crafting that motion?
Yes, please.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Katie, go ahead. I'll make the motion.
Okay, so we are looking to give approval to issue a certificate of appropriateness with the following offering from the applicant and acceptance by the zoning administrator for compliance with these conditions. Use of existing brick from the chimney to assist in the rebuild of the chimney from the roof line up as permissible. Confirmation on the roof line pitch at a 12-12. Window sills at 3.5, window frames at 3.5, window sills at 2 inches. Porch columns, same style, slightly larger in dimension. If you can specify the material and indicate it will be painted, the columns will be painted white. And clarity of a uniform foundation structure. And it sounds like you're describing that you're looking to retain something similar to what's on the front with a concrete scalloped appearance.
Design, right.
I'd like to add one more note to that. If required, the railings and balusters should be included with that. If required from the building department.
If building code requires railing and balusters,
Yes.
Yeah, that would be the standard AZAC that would meet code. So it would have to be what, 38 inches tall and no more than 4-inch space between spindles.
Right.
okay.
Not like I have a choice there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that would have to be approved by us, but we don't have that indicated on the plan, being that he's not sure if that's going to be required.
Well, we can put it on the plan that if required by building code, that's what we'll install.
Okay.
Is that
That's
sufficient?
fine. Yeah, that's
Yes.
great.
Yes.
So do we have to make a motion and have it second and then vote it on this?
Yes.
I make a motion, we, with the list that Katie has prepared, approve this to go to a certificate of appropriateness.
We have a second?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call. Martin?
Tom, I.
Strube, yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Wells, yes. Okay, it's been approved. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Good luck.
Well, you'll be able to come right by and see what we're doing.
That we will.
Okay, the next
Okay, thank you.
application is letter G, pre-application for a certificate of appropriateness to construct a rear screened-in deck on a 2-story, single-family detached dwelling at 516 Madison Avenue, tax map 83A3-1-272. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Okay, tell us what you want to do.
Okay, I'm Gary McKinney. I apologize. My daughter, who's a partner in this venture or adventure, I should say, has small children who are having some bedtime issues. She's going to take care of those, but I think she's coming back. 516 Madison is a non-contributing structure, a modular actually, that was built in 2005. We recently purchased the property, have been doing some work inside, but we are looking at the backyard, which currently has no valuable use because there's just simply no gathering space there for a family to get together. The pictures I submitted of the back of the home, you can see that there's
Losing you.
no windows on the rear of the home. There's just an entry door with a dilapidated stoop that needs to be replaced anyway. And we decided that it would make sense to put a screened-in deck back there. We could not find any survey that had been recorded on this property, so we had the property surveyed to make sure we were meeting the setback requirements. And our intent, if you're facing the rear of the home, is just to construct the screened-in deck from the right corner over to and encompassing the entry door. It would have a slant roof with a 412 pitch. Again, in an effort to coordinate with the existing home, our intent would be to install asphalt shingles that would match the home as closely as possible. We would be using pressure treated material with some AZAC and potentially some vinyl, given that the current eaves are boxed in with vinyl material on the house. So again, just trying to make the addition coordinate with the house as much as possible.
The deck material itself, what do you propose? Oh, just pressure treated, salt treated? I see.
Correct. They're using, the contractor is using this, I think it's called Screen Ease, which is the screening system. I think the trim associated with it is a white trim, and therefore we'd be interested in using some AZAC material where it made sense to coordinate with the trim of that Screen Ease product.
You know, Gary, correct me if I'm wrong here, but full disclosure, I live right around the corner. And I don't believe, based on the placement on where this will come off the rear of the house, that it will be visible whatsoever from the street.
It would not be visible at all. It's hidden by the home itself from the front street. There's actually a 6-foot vinyl privacy fence around the entire backyard now. So yeah, line of sight there simply wouldn't be any from the street.
Yeah, that was my question too. I thought it looked like a 6-foot fence, and I was just wondering if it went all the way around. Yeah,
it did.
So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I took a ride down the alleyway today, and you can't see anything except if you go down the alley. And
our intent is just to make the backyard usable, so we can spend time out there, and other folks that are there can.
Do we have any comments or questions from the board members?
The only thing I ask Ed is the exterior staircase is going to be salt treated lumber.
It is 4 foot wide.
Okay. And it needs a rail.
Yes.
You have to have a handrail.
Yes.
Same thing, salt treated.
Yes, sir.
Would anyone care to make a motion? This is
I'd make a motion that it
this is a pre-application, just to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So
go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I think this can be approved now. I would make a motion that it be approved as requested.
I second that.
Any discussion?
It's not visible at all. Correct, Mike?
That was my sense from a 6-foot fence. So.
Any further discussion?
No.
Just for clarity's sake, are we approving this to move to a certificate of appropriateness approval?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call vote.
Herb, aye.
Kathy, aye.
Drew, aye.
Martin?
Yes.
All right. The votes approve this motion and for a certificate of appropriateness. So you don't have to come back and come before this board again.
Okay. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, we have item I, pre-application for certificate of appropriateness
No.
to replace the
pre-app.
roof and windows on a duplex at 601, 603 Peach Street.
Oh, that one.
And I don't have a tax
This is a
map.
pre-app.
Yeah, this is a pre-app.
Excuse me, Ed. We
Yes.
skipped, we skipped the
You missed item C.
549, 551 Monroe Avenue. Pre-application for a certificate of appropriateness to reposition rear doors and windows, construct a rear deck, and restore the siding on a duplex at 549, 551 Monroe Avenue.
You're correct. I missed it. I'm sorry. My mistake.
No problem, buddy.
So is the applicant here?
Yes, we are here.
Okay. You want to tell us what you intend to do?
Yes, currently the back doors to our house are right next to each other. And there's stairs coming straight down, so it's not safe. You can't get out the doors easily, and there's no landings, so it's really an unsafe situation for one. Second is we'd like to turn the back porch area into a downstairs bathroom. So in order to do that and get the space we need, we'd like to move the two doors in the back leading out to the backyard out so that they're apart, probably back to where they were originally. We believe that's where they were. And there's an original window that we want to keep, but to split it into two, one for each side, and get rid of the current replacement window that was put in before we bought the house that is not original to the house. So we want to get rid of the non-original window and try to repurpose and reuse an original window. There are pictures of the back of what it looks like. Currently, you can see the two doors really close to each other. I think the best picture is probably the one without the lift in front of it. So those doors are really close together. The window, as you look at it to the right, the little rectangular window is the original window. And the other taller windows to the left are not. If you look further down, went up the alley, a couple of houses up from ours has the doors just like we envisioned them for ours, separated out into two separate back doors with, in this case, separate staircases. We can do either. One landing for each door that meets up with one staircase straight down, or we could have the landings outside each door and a staircase down each one. It doesn't matter to us if it matters to you. And let's see, there's another picture. Oh, maybe there's not. We had a hand-drawn picture. Oh yeah, there's a hand-drawn picture to show what we mean by repurposing the original window, to put it in line with the pantry windows, so it lines up at the top. And it's split between each side. That way the non-original windows that don't look all that great are removed, and we get to keep the original windows, which we really like.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is there work going on now on your house?
There is, we just met with you guys a few weeks ago about the Cedar Gables. So they're working on, they put the cedar gables up and they painted them, but they need to do the second coat of paint. So there's that lift back there.
Yeah, but it looks
Um,
like they put a metal roof on.
No, that metal, the metal roof over the two porches
Yeah.
were there. Those were there before the cedar thing. Those aren't new.
Because in one photograph you have where the doors are together, there's a asphalt roof or shingle roof.
Yeah. Sorry, let me see.
The top roof is, but not
Yeah, the top roof is, sorry, I gotta pull the pictures back up. Because one picture was from before we bought the house. And the other picture is with, oh, yeah, that metal roof was put in several years ago when we first started this whole project.
and they were approved.
And yeah, they were approved from the what was it, not tornado, the Hurricane Michael damage. A tree fell down onto that roof, and we had damage on the porch roof, so we got permission to replace the damaged roofs, and we put in the tin roof to replace it.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Was this duplex at one point?
It is still a duplex.
Still a duplex?
And that's why we want to have separate the back doors apart from each other. A, it's not safe the way it is set up now. And B, so there's some privacy between the two duplexes.
And there's no landing there.
There's currently no landing at all. It's really unsafe. I've almost tripped down it several times every time I have to bring the garbage out.
Right. Do you have an alley?
We do. In fact, the house, the picture of the green and blue house is 3 doors up on the alley. That's the back view of the alley, of our alley. They're just up the block towards the park.
All right, so do you have a materials list for us?
We intend to restore the original wood. If the original wood isn't viable, we would replace it with the same hardy that we have in the front of the house. Otherwise, the only other materials would be the 2 back doors and the stairs, the landing stairs. And
Well, you're proposing a new deck.
well, it's more of a landing than a deck.
Okay.
And that's where we don't really care whether it's the landing and 1 staircase, or if it's a landing with 2 separate staircases, 1 for each door. We're happy to do whichever you prefer, in order just to get this going and make it safe.
If you did a landing with 1 staircase, with the doors as far apart as they are,
the landing would go across
and
from
then
the doors, and then
have to then walk over to the stairs.
And the stairs would be down the middle. I don't know that that's the ideal. I don't know. I don't think that we'd
I mean,
like
if you're
that.
trying to have privacy and make it easier, I would think 2 staircases would be.
I agree. We'd like
Being
to have
that
the
it's a-
landings meet if we could have them meet, but still have the separate staircase would be preferable. But we just want to do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, I think being that it's a duplex, each should have its own stairway. I mean,
Agreed.
if you have different peoples living on either side, they're going to want to be able to go down their set of stairs, I would think.
Exactly. Yes.
I agree with the 2 sets of steps and 2 landings, or, you could adjoin the porch just like you have the photograph of that one existing home.
So we could
Is the-
adjoin the landings?
No, and join the porch. So the porch is all the way across the back, which would
Yes.
give you some room.
Perfect.
And then the staircases for each door. And each person would have their own little patio and whatever. If you're going to do
That's-
it, you might as well build a deck.
That would be ideal. We would love to do that, but we just wanted to do whatever.
I mean, I
Maybe.
think that's what I would do if I were you.
That's what we'd like to do.
Well, you can't just spring that on us tonight.
Well, that's the picture we drew. I mean, we don't see it as like a huge deck that goes out in the back. We see it more of, what did I hear? Someone said the requirement is the landing that's at least 4 feet or 5 feet deep.
Yeah,
So
because
we'd have a landing that's 5 feet deep that goes across with the stairs going down outside each door.
It would look very, very similar for all intents and purposes to this additional duplex photograph you supplied.
Right.
Yes, the blue and green house, it would look
Mhm.
very similar to that. It's just a little higher elevation. The house is a little higher up than that house. But that house pretty much looks like what we're talking about.
I see on the picture that you have with the lift, you
Mhm.
have a propane tank there on one side, and it looks like HVAC equipment on the other side. Will you have to move those?
The propane, we don't believe so. The oil tanks we're removing because we don't need the oil tanks anymore. We're
So
have
when you
electric.
move the door, the propane tank isn't in front of it.
the propane
Yeah,
tank has to be a certain amount of feet away from the house. So once you
Yeah.
extend that, it might have to be moved.
All right,
It
well,
will.
yeah, we'll look at that with, we'll check with the gas company and see what they have to do. Because that's a
Yeah.
fairly new tank, so.
It looks like it would be coming right down at the bottom of one of the stairways, actually, like Kathy
Right.
suggested.
That tank's too big, Ed, to be that close to the house. That's 100-gallon tank.
Yeah, the gas company just installed that a year or so ago, and I would have thought that they would have known that, but it's a fairly new one. But we'll be happy to have them move it.
I think it's who's ever working that day.
Yeah.
Other than the tank, I didn't have any other questions.
The windows, you're going to try to keep the same as the old windows,
Yeah,
the same
We want-
dimensions?
well, we're not replacing, we want to reuse. We want to get rid of the replacement windows that aren't original, which are the ones as you face it to the left,
Right.
those tall ones. And then
Yes.
the rectangular ones to the right, we want to
Yes.
split that in half so that there's one beside the one new door and the other square beside the so they're separated next to each of the two doors. It's the same window, just split.
Except that the windows, the two sides are individual sashes.
Yeah, the two windows are currently individual sashes.
The one rectangle.
The rectangular
There's
window.
Stops in each area.
So there'll be a lot of wall space to the right and left of the new doorways.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to exactly look like your neighbors, because you don't have that double set of taller windows to the right.
It'll actually, let me go back up there.
The photograph that you sent us is symmetrical. Everything is balanced.
Yeah.
two-
Yeah, our intention is to be symmetrical and balanced as well. Sorry, I scrolled down and lost my picture. Oh, there it is. So the blue and green. So those doors are separate. Then they have the two matching windows in between the doors that are rectangular. We intend to do that, only it'll be one square instead of two rectangles because we only have one rectangular window.
Correct. But what I'm trying to say is you won't have the taller windows.
No,
You'll have a lot of wall space.
we can reposition them if that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to look because we don't have, it's not plotted anywhere with dimensions.
Yeah, I mean, in reference to the blue and green duplex, what I'm seeing that's really going to be different, so relevant to the taller vertical windows, they don't have that wide of a rear porch, correct? Where your basement doors are, that's a different depth, correct?
It's a different height. The elevation of our house is higher than that.
Well, I guess from what I'm looking at, from one of the pictures here, I've seen a basement door on each side.
Mm-hmm.
But where the rear exit doors are, that protrudes out farther than the wall where the basement doors are. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you won't have the amount of space, the amount of wall space to add in additional windows, that being the case.
Yeah, and we're not adding in any windows. That's partially why, because we do need the wall space. But yeah, we're not adding any windows.
No, I wasn't suggesting that. I was just saying that you don't have, the area that you would be putting this deck onto is not as wide, not close to as wide.
No, not at all, because we do need to still be able to get into the basement.
Mm-hmm.
There is in the plans dimensions, if you're trying to get an idea of the space between the windows and the doors, under the diagram of proposed changes.
Yeah, there is, we tried to create a document that we thought would give an idea of what the proportions are. And then underneath that is a hand-drawn picture because it's easier to read.
But I see what Martin was saying is with the basement doors being there, that adds more dimension. It's not a flat as much as the blue and green house, which is one big flat wall. This is broken up a little more.
Yeah, I mean, we have a pantry. So we have a basement door on each side and a pantry window above it versus the house down the street where they don't have the basement doors or the pantry. So they have two large windows on the other side of their door. That
Your drawing is symmetrical though, the one of them.
It is.
where
We
you
intend
got
it
the
to be.
basement doors, and then you got the two new stairways that would allow to open the new door, and then you have a 20-foot porch between the two doors.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yay.
Yeah, it's very symmetrical. It's as symmetrical as you can get.
Yeah, it did look odd to us if it wasn't. I like things symmetrical.
Yeah, well, I can tell. Looks good. Well, yeah.
I was looking at the hard copy. I don't have the blue and green house.
I don't have a blue and green house either.
So now I was going on my iPad to see if I could find it. That's all.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, it's a photograph. I don't know if you have a printout, it might print out in black and white,
Yeah, that's what I
but
have.
it says above the blue and green one says the back of the house up the street toward the park on Monroe as examples of what the doors moved apart look like.
Correct. Right.
So-
Mine's black and white.
Yeah, so that's the blue and green house.
Okay, cool.
And there's 3 pictures of the blue and green house.
It's page 134, I believe, starting of our 199 still remaining total.
Yeah, I'm on 132. I found it.
That was good, Martin.
Okay. Any, anyone else have any concerns, questions, recommendations?
Now, can we, Michael, Stobbs, are you there?
He's on mute.
Michael, wake up.
You're on mute.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, Michael, go ahead and make a motion.
Yeah, well, as best I can tell, I can make a motion to approve as requested here. With based on the discussion we heard. So, and it's, principally it's in the back. Off the alley. Okay, is that clear enough?
Ed,
Do we want to go straight through without,
yeah, let's try that. Yeah, let's try to clear the plate.
So
we
again, you're
want-
looking for this to be a motion of approval for a certificate of appropriateness as
Correct.
presented.
Correct,
Yes.
Kate.
There's just a couple of question marks for me. She has written like 18 feet, 4 inches by 22 porch area if viable, or replace with heathered moss, hardy plank if not viable. So these things I think should be answered before we approve it all the way.
All right, so you're talking about the siding, when we remove the vinyl siding, at that point, we would be able to see if the wood is viable.
Okay,
that-
and if it's not, you're proposing to go with the hardy plank that's on the front?
Exactly.
Okay.
Our preference would be to restore the wood if at all possible.
That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we would have wanted to have done all along, even
Yes.
before the cedar thing, but everything just got all confused with the cedar. So now we just want to do the right thing the way
Okay.
we would have wanted to the first place.
Well, as long as that's, fully explained and written up as such.
And we can make that part of the condition of this permit approval.
Right.
Okay,
And also, again, around the windows, a wider casing.
3.5 inches and a 2-inch sill.
perfect. You tell us what you want and we'll do it.
Okay.
That sound good?
And how about the material on the deck itself, the deck or landing material with stairs and railings?
Pressure treated wood
Whatever.
or whatever you prefer.
Well, the railings and balusters preferably would be wood painted, but I mean, you can go with a vinyl or a composite fiberglass type stuff. I mean, it's just got to be, confirmed somehow.
You just have to tell us whether you want wood or vinyl. And we
I
would
pref-
prefer wood.
Wood.
Yeah, we would prefer wood too.
Good. Wood is good.
It just needs to be painted.
Yeah, it just needs to be painted, correct?
Stairs as
Yes.
well, or okay, we'll paint it. That's fine.
Well, that's your choice. I mean, you know, we're open if you want to go with the vinyl product or composite product.
Can we stencil it? Yes,
Excuse
we're
me?
fine.
Yeah,
with painted
we're
wood.
fine with the paint with wood.
Okay.
painted.
If
Does
that's
it
what-
have to be painted? Can they stain it?
Well,
We have-
we prefer a painted. I mean, it's in the rear of the house. That could be up to the board members how they want to go that route.
I just think of painted stairs wearing out faster.
Well, I was more concerned with the railings and the vinyl, the balusters.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, definitely.
Yeah, we can easily paint the railing and the balusters and,
Yeah, we weren't
And-
talking about the treads
The
and
deck.
risers.
Okay.
oh, okay,
Okay.
great.
Go ahead, Michael.
You want to use the pressure treated on the flooring? Is that what you proposing?
Yes,
Salt treated?
Yeah.
yes,
And it has to run perpendicular,
yes.
okay?
Okay.
And that'll all be in the whatever,
As part of your conditions.
perfect. That way, I don't have to rely on my memory because I didn't write it all down.
No, that's okay. Katie's doing a good job.
Yeah.
I am writing this all down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I think we might have a full motion that would approve for a certificate of appropriateness as presented with the following conditions. 3.5-inch casings and 2-inch sills on the windows. Restore the original wood where you can. Otherwise, you would put in hardy plank on the siding. Salt treated pressure treated salt. I'm not saying this right. Sorry. Salt
One or
and
the other.
pressure treated wood. There we go. For the deck and stairs. Installation on the deck will run perpendicular and the rail and balusters will be wood painted.
Yes, that's my motion, yes.
I second it.
What he said.
Second I second. There
Can I
you
get a
go.
roll call vote?
Herb, aye.
Lasser, aye.
Martin,
Drew,
Here, yes.
motion passes with the conditions as mentioned. And good luck.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
All right. We
We
love
appreciate
you.
you all. Thank you.
Okay. We're getting there. Item D, pre-application for certificate of appropriateness to replace the roof and windows on duplex at 601/603 Peach Street. Is the applicant with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you want to explain to us what you want to do?
Yes, so thanks for your time. Really the idea is to repair and replace everything on the outside. So there's several items to these to this application. So the roof is in need of repair. So the proposal is to replace the existing shingle roof with timberline shingles. There's no change to pitch or anything related to the roof, just replacing what's in place already. Also, the windows, currently they're existing vinyl windows, and there are several pictures on the application that shows the state of those windows. In fact, there's some water that's already leaking into the house. So I'd like to get those replaced with new windows. The only changes is that the window on the second floor facing the street, we'd like to get a double-sized window instead of the current the single window that's in place. And there's an example of, I think, 609 Peach, which is a couple houses down that have done something very similar where they increased the size of the window upstairs. And also replacing the front and rear doors. One request that we are looking to do is to use 36-inch doors instead of the 30-inch doors that's currently in place. They're rather small and difficult to move some of the things in and out of the house.
I didn't hear you. You were blanked out for a few seconds.
Okay,
Did you say you're looking to put a 36-inch door, 3.0 door?
Yeah, and the front door, currently it's a 30-inch door. And would like to put in a 36-inch door, as it is probably more common and easier to access and to go in and out. And then the last piece is the front porch steps. There's several pictures attached there, but essentially it's just settled over time. There's cracks in the concrete blocks that are the steps. So we're hoping to redo that and reuse as much of the existing concrete blocks as possible and replace as needed to get the steps back into good condition.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, what about the porch deck?
I don't believe there's anything needed for the porch deck unless there's something that you see, but everything looks like it's in pretty good shape. As far as the deck itself, it's just the steps leading up to the deck.
Yeah, the photograph then is it's kind of like not showing. It's showing like it looks like it's deteriorated.
I think if you're looking at page 142, that's actually 609 Peach. I was just using that one for the windows as a reference.
No, I was looking at the one with the concrete steps, the block steps.
Correct.
I think that's just the shadowing in the photograph.
Okay, because it says porch steps need repair. Is that the same photograph?
Yes, the porch steps. That's correct.
Okay.
The wood on the deck is perfectly fine. It just needs to be.
Okay. It just looks like
there's no need for the steps.
Yeah, it just looks deteriorated. That's all.
Yeah. I think the goal is once we get the steps back, we'll just paint everything the same color and make it look,
I got you.
Yep.
The addition of making a double window on either side. Do you know the age of this house?
So I don't believe there's an exact number. I mean, we're guessing, based on the work that we've already done, somewhere in the 70s, if I were to guess.
This house in the 70s?
That's, again, I'm not an expert, just from what I've seen. It doesn't look like it's too old. I don't think it's in the 50s.
It looks like a 4 square, Ed.
Yeah, I mean, I
think it's got some age on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely has some age to it. I mean, this is one of the things that, you should be able to present us with, so we don't have to go look at it.
I could not find anywhere as to the age. If I look on the county records, it shows, I think it's 1757, which does not seem accurate to.
Well, that's not true, is it?
Right. And other than that one place, I don't know where else to find the age of the house.
Well, the town should be able to possibly tell you. You can ask, you can inquire, and even the county, like you said, you might be able to do a little bit more in-depth look.
Okay.
Sometimes you can look on the Sanborn maps too, to see if there was something there.
Okay, yeah, I'm not an expert on the age, but it doesn't look like it's in the 50s for sure. So maybe in the 60s or 70s.
Because it makes a difference to us. It could make a big difference. By adding the windows to a historic house is difficult to accept, in my opinion. But if it's a non-contributing structure, it's easier. We have more leeway. That's the reason I ask.
Okay. Are you referring specifically to just increasing the window size for the front or the all?
Yes. And it wouldn't be over the existing window on the lower level. It wouldn't be symmetrical lined up with those.
I don't believe it would be. That's why I put the unit down the street for reference. I believe they were able to make it similar, and that's really our intent, is to try to make it, symmetrical to the windows downstairs.
Yeah, I mean, that would be preferable. I mean,
Sure.
Yeah, the 42 shows the two windows on top and then one window on the bottom floor.
yeah, but they look almost lined up on the house down the street or
Yeah.
next door, wherever it is.
Yeah, I believe we can make that happen. Again, we just need to measure that out. But if that's something that you want us to do, I have no problems.
Yeah, but that means it looks like you'd have to increase the size of the existing window also. To me, from the photos anyhow.
Okay.
Which would really change the whole appearance of that house to me. You're not only adding a window, but you're increasing the size of the old existing window. But that's something you may have to get back to us on.
Also, Ed, the 36-inch door.
Well, that's code, on new construction. You need a
Yeah, it is.
36-inch entry door.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, he's bringing it up to code, in my opinion. It's hard to get furniture in there nowadays sometimes on a 30-inch
They
door.
can't even bring a bathtub in without getting.
No, you can't. You can't get a refrigerator in the back door.
Right.
What's the dimension of your back door? 30?
Yeah, they're both 30s right now.
Okay.
The roof, is not a problem for me.
No,
The
it's
front
fourth
door,
floor.
the front door, I think it's acceptable. I mean, do you have what you're gonna put there? or
Yes,
proposing?
yes. If you scroll, if it's on page, sorry, going through,
Front door is a smooth star, half light,
Yeah.
2-panel,
yeah, so
color
there's,
indigo.
yes, yeah. So the front and rear doors are on that, and then the link takes you to the actual larger page. But those are the little thumbnail pictures of what that door will look like.
The rear door, you're gonna change that to 36-inch also?
No, it's going to stay the same size.
Same size.
Yeah, just the front, because it's just difficult
Okay.
to move anything in and out at this point.
So it's the front two doors, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. It'll be the same doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the existing windows are vinyl replacement windows?
They're vinyl. Yeah, they're all vinyl windows.
And it looks like the wood is deteriorated and rotted, the trim boards.
Yes.
So it looks like you have a wide trim on there now. You're going to have to keep what's there, that
Okay.
size.
Okay. Not a problem.
So does anybody have any comments?
Steps gonna stay the same.
Yeah. If the
Stay the same.
only thing that's a little questionable is the window size, then I would rather just keep the same window size for like I said, there's water that's leaking through the windows right now, so I like to get get those replaced as soon as possible. So if we can't, if the window size is an issue, I'd rather just keep the same size.
And just keep the single window on either side?
If that's the reason to delay the
That's my feeling. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
Okay.
It's difficult to see how it lines up, but on the one picture, it does look like if you put a second window next to it, it would line up with the window down below. On the picture, let's see.
Yeah, I think it's just the angle of when how I took the picture, but yeah, the unit on 609 and this one they're exactly the same units from what I can tell. So
Yeah, if you look at the one that says proposed window second floor, on the left-hand side, it looks like they're going to line up. I think just because of the angle of the camera, it doesn't look that way on the right.
Yeah, I mean, but we don't have dimensions, so I mean, how can we approve something that we don't know? I mean, that's, like I said, that's only my opinion. That's one vote. We're not privy to the dimensions if it does line up or if it doesn't line up. So that has to be taken into consideration, in my opinion. It does change the look of the house. I think the house is definitely older than the 50s.
I do too.
I think I've seen similar houses built in the 20s around town. I own 2 of them. So that's why I asked the age.
I'm gonna go check the mail.
Oh, thank you.
So
My apologies on the age of the house. I'm not an expert on dating these houses, so.
what type of flooring did you have inside there?
It was hardwood.
Okay.
Yes.
Does anybody else have any concerns?
Yeah, couldn't he just make the windows line up symmetrically?
Yeah, but now you're changing the other window also. He's going to be moving. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to get the same size windows to line up.
I got you. All right.
They're going to have to be altered. It looks like they'd have to be made wider.
Right, I got you. Okay, I see it now.
So you would be moving, or you know what I'm saying? You'd have to make the one window wider, the existing one, and then the new one to match up on the bottom. That's, like I said, that's just for me and my observation.
Yeah, but it won't line up. Unless you expand one window, it won't line up.
I think that's the case.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we have some issues. We need some more information if we're going to do double up top.
That's up to the applicant. I mean,
so I guess what I'm saying is, would it be worth, we could approve this now. This is a pre-application. If they want to come back, they can with the additional information in a month. If not, proceed, kind of thing.
one other question, the cement stairway is just going to be repaired but left as existing?
Yeah, it's basically to repair because there's a big crack going down the middle, so it's.
And will they be painted or something?
We'll try to paint it the same color, along with the deck.
Okay. Okay. Would you be applicable to continuing this with conditions, or would you just prefer to just leave the windows as is?
So maybe you can help me understand, when you say conditions, does that mean that as long as I provide that information, then I can proceed in 30 days, or do I need to come back for the next meeting and then wait another,
Well, we may be able to send you right through with a certificate of appropriateness as it stands without the additional material and dimensions of the double windows.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other work could be sent through as stated on the application. The doors, the stairs being repaired, and the roof.
Okay.
So I think the only thing I think we would need more information about the double windows up top.
Okay. I think what I would prefer is just to stay with the same windows in this case and just try to move forward.
I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other now.
I understand. My wife probably will be a little bit upset at me, but I want to get this done. So.
I mean, you can always put in for that later on.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah. Let's go with the single windows, and then if something does change, I'll put in something else in.
Hi, Tracy.
Mr. Chair, hi. For the sake of the minutes and also for the sake of everyone understanding, I think what we need from you, Mr. Yang, is to amend your application. That's the easiest thing to do.
Okay. Okay.
To stating that you're repairing the existing windows.
Yes.
That's okay with the board?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay with me.
Yes.
Okay with me.
I threw the rest of it away.
Thank you.
So do we have to make a motion stating that the applicant resubmit a new application with changes?
Yeah, yes, you can make a motion. We're going to presume that he is amending his application and we need to receive that by tomorrow. And as long as we receive that tomorrow, then you can make your motion this evening to approve a certificate of appropriateness relative to the front door size change he's requesting, the roof replacement, the front porch steps, and the window replacement, but not to the second story double window proposal.
Okay, does anybody want to make that motion?
Yeah, go ahead. As Katie read it, that's fine by me.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Roll call vote. Herb,
Okay, Herb.
Kathy,
Okay, yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
All right, the motion's approved. And just get that paperwork in by tomorrow and you'll be on your way.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, okay. This is item E, pre-application for certificate of appropriateness to install a fence at 633 Randolph Avenue, tax map number 83A3-1-431. Is the applicant here?
I'm here.
Hello, you've been around waiting a long time, huh?
It's all right. You finally got to me.
Okay. So you want to tell us what you want to do there?
Yes. So my back property, there's already my neighbor to the rear of me already has a fence going across. My neighbor to the east of me has a fence coming down. Her fence ends at the back corner of her house. On that east side, I would like to just put a gate straight across from the back corner of my property into the side of her property. And the reason for that is she doesn't want a 6-foot fence covering up any of her windows. Otherwise, I would have to go across, stay 2 feet off of her property, and then cut back into the existing fence that she has up. On the other side, or you want to stick with that first?
Yeah, can you run that by us again?
Sure. If you see in the pictures, the second picture, it shows the greenhouse on the right side and the yellow house on the left. You can see on the right-hand side where her fence, she has a fence on her property. It goes out 2 feet.
Okay, yeah.
And if you see, you can see 2 windows up in front of the fence. Now, if I continued that fence down the property line, it would cover up those windows. So what I want to do is I want to put a gate just running across from the back corner of my house into where you see the old electric box, approximately there. So I don't have to run any fencing in front of her house. I think technically speaking, that is the side of her house. So therefore it would require a 4-foot fence right there. But it's just kind of causing some trouble because I have dogs. So I don't want a 6-foot fence all the way around my property and then a 4-foot fence for 2 feet. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's to me.
How about your neighbors? Does she have a problem?
Oh, I've spoken to my neighbor. She prefers me to go straight across to her property because she does not want her windows covered up. That's the reason that I'm going straight across into her house.
I don't know. Does anybody have any comments?
No.
The zoning administrator have anything to say? Planning?
Wake up, Katie.
Sorry, I had to unmute. I actually went back there because I had a little trouble understanding what Joe was talking about. I now understand it because there's an existing fence. So there is some challenge with him being able to do a fence wholly on his property and not intrude upon the request from his neighbor. And so I understand that request now. So yeah, I think we need to adhere to, I don't think we can give him a 4-foot fence. I think the 6-foot fence is actually acceptable as his request. And it meets the prevailing standard that's been there in that neighborhood. And these houses are really tightly packed together as well.
Yeah.
So we would be okay from a zoning perspective to sign off on this. Yes.
Yeah.
Normally, isn't the ordinance 6 foot on the side yard lots and 4 foot on the side lots and 6 foot in the rear?
Right, except there's already some existing fence that's at 6 feet, which has been there.
Yeah.
Well, it is in the rear though.
That's their fence, so it is in the rear of their property. My house doesn't go very far back because I'm wider than I am deeper.
Right.
So anything coming off of my corners is going to cause fences to be in front of my neighbor's windows. And on the west side, the property line is only 12 to 14 inches off of my neighbor's house. So they would, if I put fence all the way down my property line, they would literally open up their windows and can reach out and touch them.
That's not nice.
No, so with them on the west side, I'm just going to come all the way down and then turn the corner for 12 inches and go into the back corner of their house. Speaking with them, that's what they also prefer.
Okay.
So basically if it helps, he's trying to complete the square. He's filling in the gaps to make up a whole fencing line be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Any comments, discussion?
No.
Does anyone want to make a motion?
I move that we approve the application for the fence as
presented?
Yes.
Is that a second, Mike? Yeah, I lost you. All right, roll call vote.
Herb, aye.
Kathy, aye.
Martin?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
All right, the motion carries and it's approved. And good luck.
Thank you very much. Anything else I need to do?
I'm not sure of the procedure.
You'll receive paperwork from us, Mr. Banks. And again, just so you understand the clarification, they actually approved you for a certificate of appropriateness this evening. There is a 30-day appeals process that's allowed, but we'll get you paperwork to that effect. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Got it.
Have a good evening.
Okay, this is item F, approval after the fact application for certificate of appropriateness to re-roof a single-family detached dwelling at 4 Randolph Avenue, tax map 83A3-2-2-86. Is the applicant available?
Yes, good evening. I'm Jimmy Wood, the attorney for the applicant, Wood Taylor LLC.
Okay, you're representing the owner?
Yes, and I've got the owner here as well.
Okay, you want to just tell us what happened here?
Yeah, so again, good evening. As you know from the agenda, we're here to request an after-the-fact approval for a partial roof replacement related to 4 Randolph Avenue. Of course, coming into this, I can understand that the board likely does not look favorably upon after-the-fact request, and I can imagine that it likely appears that there was a nefarious intent in completing this work without first obtaining the appropriate authorization but I'll explain that ultimately there was no nefarious intent, and indeed the approval was seemingly obtained prior to completing the work. I believe my father, who also is my client here, so not sure if you've had a chance to look, but I think he submitted a summary and history of the project that resulted in the partial roof replacement. So I won't go into too much detail about the history of it, but it is important to give you a little brief synopsis of what happened, what led to this partial roof replacement. First of all, the home was purchased by Wood Taylor LLC in the summer of 2018 from the family that owned the house since really it was constructed in 1914. Unfortunately, the family stopped having a family member permanently residing in the home beginning around the mid-1950s. So when it was purchased, it was in a pretty rough state. There was no heating or air conditioning that was working. In fact, during an exceptionally cold period, the power failed and the radiators froze and burst, flooding the house on the inside. There were significant structural issues, required hiring a structural engineer on the first and second floors to get those in a good position. There was what can only really be described as a hodgepodge of knob and tube wiring, ungrounded wiring, and then some modern wiring throughout the house, none of which was likely up to current code. And then plumbing wise, there was black lead pipes feeding water supply throughout the house. So there was significant issue with the house itself. And then with regard to the upper portion of the roof, not only was it the 100-year-old slate roof failing, but the roof itself was also a hodgepodge of roofing materials of various various materials. There was some sort of black substance that was in some areas. There was different types of slate and shingles that were patched in other areas. So when it was purchased, the goal was to basically restore this home to its previous state and really let it shine as the historic property that it is. Prior to starting any construction, the owner met with then town manager Larry Dyree on September 4th, 2018 at 9 a.m. to discuss the various items that would need to be done to restore the house, or that they would want to do to restore the home. Mr. Dyree at the time was serving in his dual capacity, I guess, at the time as town manager, and then also as the planner and zoning administrator, as the I guess now previous zoning administrator hadn't been hired at that time. During that meeting, there were 3 items that were specifically discussed as to whether or not they would require going before this body to seek approval prior to doing it. 1 was replacing rotten exterior wood. 2 was replacing the roofs, including the upper slate roof, and 3 was adding a window in the basement for a window fan. Mr. Dyree at the time indicated that the window fan of the 3 would be the one that would require HRB approval, and so that idea was scrapped, and decided not to go forward with that and seek alternative options to keeping the basement dry and the moisture levels controlled. Ultimately, replacing the roof was not a quick or easy process. Initially, the owner sought to save and salvage the slate roof. A roofing company was engaged to analyze the slate roof to determine if it could be repaired. However, when the company went to inspect the roof, they decided as soon as they put the ladders up that they weren't going to step on the roof. They said that the slates were all loose, and any attempts to walk on the slate would have broken the slate and or caused one of the workers to slide off the roof. So probably made a right call there on that. But as to the issue at hand and why we're here again today, it's our position that based on the town's Article 8, Section 8.16b of the Cape Charles zoning ordinances, that there are some minor actions that are exempted from review by the Historic Review Board. In this case, looking up and down Randolph and the surrounding areas, replacement of the slate roof, at least in 2018, when Mr. Diary was the zoning administrator and town manager. It was his estimation at the time that this was not something that would require historic review board approval. Indeed, you know, the two houses on either side, which are also both contributing resources in early 20th century homes, they both also have asphalt shingles on.
I'm losing the applicant.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So I said that I think the last thing was the two homes on either side, both contributing resources, both also early 20th century homes, also have the asphalt shingles. You know, furthermore, the section 8.18A indicates that a building permit shall not be granted in situations where historic review board approval is required. Again, though, a building permit was granted, signifying again that Mr. Diary's position was that this would not require approval. Section 8.18B also provides that non-substantial alterations, including work done to prevent deterioration or to replace parts with similar materials in order to correct any deterioration, decay, or damage to any structure is also applicable here. And then finally, section 8.16C, you know, it really is what rests the authority with the zoning administrator at the time, Mr. Diary, who should, you know, per that section of the ordinance, is required to be contacted for an interpretation of applicability before beginning any work. So again, it's our position that the process was followed with respect to that. With that said, I can understand that even if you disagree with that interpretation, the partial roof replacement was done in a manner that was consistent with the town ordinances and the character of the historic district, and frankly doesn't jeopardize the home status as a contributing resource to the historic district. First, you know, I know that there are no town ordinances that relate to the removal or replacement of slate roofs generally. So there's nothing that specifically addresses slate roofs in Cape Charles. Second, the zoning ordinance itself is generally silent on replacing roofs. It does discuss primary roof bridges in new construction and corrugated metal as material acceptable in new construction for roofs, but otherwise there's nothing specific in the ordinance themselves that would place any requirements on the applicant. And then finally, the Cape Charles Historic District guidelines also lack in specificity related to the replacement of roofs. I know on page 37, it does reference when a roof must be replaced, attempt to match the original material, since these materials are important to the visual integrity of the building. But in this case, if you saw the roof, and I don't think that we've actually submitted a picture of what it was before, you would see that the visual integrity of the home was lacking because of the original roof and the hodgepodge of replacements on the roof. So we could quibble over the word attempt, but in this case, a genuine attempt was made to salvage the roof. But when the roof was declared a total loss, it was time to replace it. We got an estimate of $35,000 to $40,000 for replacement of reslating the roof, but the earliest they could get to it would be 5 months at least for them to get it done. And the leaking had gotten so bad that at one point it triggered and set off the fire alarms. It caused a wire malfunction there, and the neighbors weren't very happy when the fire alarms went off through the night. So in any event, we come hat in hand to request this after the fact approval and granting of the certificate of appropriateness. I'm happy to answer any questions and have the owner here to answer any questions as well.
Anybody have any discussion, questions?
Excuse me, I was there on a Sunday afternoon. Ed, you remember you and I had a discussion about what was going on.
Yeah.
I can't understand though why you had to do it on why you had to start to work on a Sunday when there was nobody in the town offices, like the building inspector or the zoning inspector.
Well, I think you can respect that having work done in Cape Charles and getting people over from the other side is not always the fastest or easiest to have that done. But, you know, we've got 9 people on the roof of a house. There's nothing that's being hidden at that fact. And, you know, frankly, it's a house that's right there on the main drag, right near the beach. I know Charles is a small town, and so I don't think there's any question that this wasn't done to hide it. And so I think any implication of that is disheartening. It's not the case. And it wasn't me that you met with. It would have been my father.
I met with your dad. That's correct. However, most contractors don't work on Sunday that are legitimate, or they have legitimate permits to work.
Well, again, I would disagree with your characterization of legitimacy there. I think we had a building permit. We have a licensed contractor on site. And if you aren't or don't know, my father's also a contractor and has numerous homes in Norfolk and Virginia Beach and 2 at Cape Charles now, where we've got teams of guys that are working around the clock on different homes. I just had pretty significant water damage in my house, and I had guys over there on site.
I have a couple of questions. I hate to interrupt you, but we've been here for hours. And we want
I've been listening, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Zip this up. Do you have any documentation about Larry DeRee's approval of not getting any approval from the Historic Review Board or any your building permits? When were they issued? And
email and but in the email I don't believe it says anything other than just scheduling the meeting.
So you have no documentation of Larry's approval?
No,
it's
we
just
don't.
Word of mouth.
So
we have the building permit.
It looks like that was September of 2018, correct? When you met with them initially?
So now we're 3 years later and your building permit expired when?
I actually don't have the building permit, so I can't tell you that.
Okay. No building permit, no written documentation.
Well, there is a building permit, and I would.
Well, you just said you don't have it. I think
I'm
it's
saying
been expired.
I don't have it.
I think it's been expired for right now.
Well, I'm just saying I don't have it with me, and I'll let him address that.
Hey, good evening. I'm Jim Wood. I'm the one that met with Herb. The permit has been going on for a while. Jeb is familiar with this. And
yeah, but you're the owner. You should know when your permit is, if it's active or if it's expired.
Yeah, I didn't bring a copy of it tonight. It's on.
Oh, okay.
It's on the door there. I just didn't bring a copy of it because I didn't bring a copy of it.
Okay.
And the way Jeb does his final inspections, he wants everybody to be done at the same time. And I couldn't get a final inspection on the electrical when I had the roof coming down from the water damage, because that it set off the smoke alarms, and we put in all new interconnected smoke alarms throughout all 3 floors, plus the basement. And when one goes out, they all go off. And Jeb, actually in his capacity as a volunteer firefighter, showed up and called me the night that it went off and said he wanted to force entry. And
Okay, let's move on. Your son mentioned that there's nothing in the guidelines about roofs. I want to quote on page 36. Retain the roof types of historic buildings, including such as chimneys and light wells. Retain the roof form, elements, and materials as they help to indicate the style and construction of the building. So that's a contradiction to what you said.
Well, it's your guidelines, sir. And if you turn the page to 37,
and I am. When a roof must be replaced, attempt to match the original materials. I don't see much differentiation there.
Well, again, you know, January 12th, and I know you don't like precedent, but, you know, that is something that we rely on in the legal field. And
yeah, well, I've heard many different stories about precedent in the legal field, but I'm not an attorney, so let's just stick to the facts that we have here. Right. So, Larry, there's no written documentation. Am I correct?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Your father's permits, I believe, have expired since they were issued in 2018. They don't carry on for year after year after year. They have to be renewed. You came over here with no permit. Does your contractor have a business license in the town of Cape Charles?
Yes.
We'd like to see that approval of that too. It's just the way you guys came here on a Sunday with 15 guys up there like ants up on the roof was just a slap in the face to the residents on a Sunday. You know, I think you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Well, let me address that, sir. I don't know if you recall, February was an extraordinarily rainy month. And my roofer, who is a licensed roofer,
Does he have a business license in town? There's a difference with a license and a business license in the town of Cape Charles.
Right.
Well, he has a business license.
He's a licensed, you know, with DPOR, Department of Professional Occupation.
That's not answering my question. I asked if he had a business license in the town.
I don't know if he has.
Well, you guys don't have any written documentation of a lot of things. You know, it's just not right.
Well, if I could answer what you're saying about the middle of the day, he called me and said, can I come out? Because he's been trying to get 2 dry days. He needed 2 dry days to do it. And it kept raining and raining and raining. He was supposed to come out on Thursday and it was too windy. They set a ladder up there and it was too windy. And he said, can I come out on Sunday? And I said, we can get it all done on Sunday. It's supposed to rain on Monday. And he said, I'm going to send 15 guys out there. I'm going to get it all done. He said, because I've got 3 roofs ahead of you and I've got a bunch of others to do. Because
what's the name of that man? Does he have a business license in town?
It's Gaylor Roofing. I didn't know you require that. I can get the contract if you want to see it.
You don't know the contractor's name?
I know his name, but I don't know the name of his entity.
You don't know the name of his what?
I don't know the name of the company that he has. I don't know the name of the entity I wrote the check to, but I know his name is Wayne Gaylor, Gaylor. But he's got a company.
Does any of the members have anything else to say? Does the zoning administrator have anything to say? Since there was ordinances pointed out.
I do have quite a few thoughts on this, and I know we are late this evening. So it may be an item that we wish to defer for a month for us to take some retrospective consideration of how we wish to proceed, because this is probably not going to be our last incidents of this nature. So I think we need to get some clarity here. I think you've asked some great questions, because I think in my talking with the building official, while he did have a permit, I don't know if it was still valid at the time. I know it did not include the scope of work of the roof replacement. So I don't want there to be confusion over that issue. The roof replacement was not part of any building permit that had been applied for. So at that point, I think we just need to get a little more information before we can make a decision how to proceed forward, and what action we as a board may wish to vote upon.
Move to table it.
And I do think we need to also have a conversation as part of this, if there are going to be penalties assessed as part of our consideration.
Any discussion among the members?
It sounds a reasonable suggestion to me.
I think Katie's right, Ed. I think we should postpone it and do some more investigating.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, we table it for the next meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Herb, aye.
Strube, yes.
Kathy, you're muted.
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
And if we can have the applicant provide us who the contractor is and their business name, and if he has any documentation from Mr. DeRee, that we would love to see that, as well as any progress where he was on any open building permit he may have had.
All right, if there's anything else, just let us know and we'll submit that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay. We're down to other business. Thank God. Right, we have an election of officers tonight. I'm not sure how that works, to tell you the truth.
If you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, I can actually postpone that to the next meeting now that we've had a chance to have Kathy participate as our new member, and it's a late evening, and we can actually put that as the first item of business at your next meeting. And you all can think about who might want to step up to serve as chairman, and then potentially change the vice chairman if that should need to happen as well.
Well, that's up to the board members. How does everyone feel?
Or if you feel prepared to act on it this evening, we can open the floor to any motions made for chairman.
I make a motion that Ed Wells be chairman.
I don't know how that works. Do you have to have a second or?
Yes, we do. So do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Are there any other motions or considerations for chairman? Hearing none, I would close the floor and put the motion out for a vote for Ed to serve as chairman. All in favor?
Aye. Burbine.
Yes.
Strube, yes.
Kathy, yes.
Okay. And Ed, are you favorable to accepting?
Oh,
the
yes,
duties?
yes, I guess so. Thank you.
Fantastic. So with that
Thank
said, I
you
turn
all.
the floor
Thank you all
back
for
to you.
supporting me. Appreciate
I
it.
turn the floor back to you, Ed, if you would actually go ahead and see if we can accept nominations for the vice chairman.
Okay, I'll nominate Herb as vice chair.
I'll second it.
We have to take a roll call vote.
Yep. Yes, please.
Aye. Wells, aye.
Kathy, yes.
Strube, yes.
Mayor, yes.
Motion carries. Herb is vice chair. Now we also have other business B. State annual report. I heard that this is just to read over. Is that what you said, Tracy?
That's
Yes,
correct.
this is just for, your purposes. We've already filed it. So this is a yearly filing that we have to do from, I believe it is October to September. So
This is supposed to be done annually? I mean, that's what it says.
Yes.
I don't remember doing this though in the past.
I don't either.
Oh, you've done it? All right, then. You're on mute, Tracy.
it was just a little later this year because Aubrey sent it, when she could because of COVID.
Are we going to be talking to Aubrey anytime soon? I mean, just as a new group here, maybe we can talk to her and discuss things.
We actually still have the grant. We're just trying to figure out everything with COVID and how they're operating under COVID, because we were still thinking about doing the training.
Okay. That'd be good to get some of her guidance and to also talk to council about getting some of this stuff straightened out with the guidelines.
Understood.
That's another day. We also have item C, an upcoming meeting and / calendar that Katie wanted to address.
Sure. One, I thank you for your time. I know this is a very long meeting. We really packed in a lot because we were trying to move things that have been stuck in the pipeline. So I appreciate your time and diligence this evening. I think we made tremendous progress. In that regard, we wanted to make you aware, we've received an application from the Cape Charles Brewing Company, which is in a C3 zoning district. And I think in prior applications of
Okay.
C3s, you've sometimes have scheduled those as special meetings. So I wanted to see if you'd like to continue that and see if we can arrange a site visit for one or two of the members to meet with the applicant and staff on site to go over what they are requesting, and then to schedule a special meeting just to take up that commercial application.
Do that.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I'm around most times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there
Thank you.
any date set up?
I don't have a date at this point. I told the applicant I would talk with him tomorrow, if that was a favorable consideration, and we would coordinate calendars and we can get with everybody. So, Ed, would it be you and Herb? Would you
Yeah.
both be willing?
Yeah,
If
we're
there's
both
anyone
willing.
else, anyone
Mike?
anyone else?
If it's
Hey,
more
Mike, you want to
than,
go?
if it's more than two of you, then that becomes a meeting of the board at
Oh.
the site. So
Okay.
I only need two of you at the site visit.
Okay,
All right.
Ed and I'll go.
If I'm available, I'll go.
Okay.
My question is, this is still within the historic overlay going out that far?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
The other thing is, wouldn't this strictly be under your purview as the C3 zoning or the planning commission?
My understanding is C3 review has been assigned to the Historic District Review Board.
Okay. It's just that it hasn't come up before this board, I don't think.
I don't think you've had many applications, but Tracy may be able to shed some light on that.
Not that I.
Yes, the beach market was actually
Right. Okay.
C3.
Right.
And you're probably going to get another application soon as well from Custom Carts. That one
Right.
is moving through the system at this point as well.
Right, right.
Okay. All right, I'm going to adjourn this meeting unless there's any more discussion. Thanks, everybody, for putting in all the time.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Good
night, everyone.
night. Thank you.